Take me on home to the asylum. Never in the asylum. Anarchy ruled, it was wild, but through it all you never smiled. Joke's on you, I'm in your head, so look who's laughing now. Remember in Arkham City, I killed your girl, so pretty. That was the night you let me die. But when I looked you in the eye, that's when I knew we'd be together. Look who's laughing now. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I fill you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. I am the clown, prince of crime. And we've had a hell of a time. You're part of me, I'm part of you. And now there's nothing left to do. I just can't wait till I'm in control. Who'll be laughing then? I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. Oh yeah. Think I can taste your fear. Now that my time is near. I'm in your blood, I'm so alive. I only wish you'd let me drive. It won't be long till I make you kill. Who'll be laughing then? Barbara's dead and I'm laughing. Jason Todd's dead and I can't stop laughing. I'm even dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. I'm cock-a-doodle-doo. All because of you. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I fill you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I filled you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for something completely different.
I heard the old man say, leave her, Johnny, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Oh, the wind was foul and the sea ran high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. I hate to sail on this rotten tub. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. No grog allowed and rotten grub, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. We swear by our oath for want of more. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now we're through, so we'll go on shore, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
It sure is. But do you think he's going to? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, I got a DM the other day. Somebody, they're like, I've heard you play that song so many times. I just realized the her is the ship. They're like, it took me this long to realize they're singing about a boat. I thought it was some chick he refused to leave. So yeah, well, there you go. But yeah, Johnny's never going to leave her. He's a simp. I truly agree. Yeah. How is everybody doing? Everybody feeling good today? We have a few interesting things to go through. So it should be a good time. We're in this like weird lull because of course tomorrow is a big day. Black Flag Resynced is getting its full reveal and actual official gameplay trailer, whatever they're gonna do. And so there's going to be lots to do tomorrow and talk about tomorrow. But right now we're in that lull. He's just really into ships. Did you ever see that TLC show? Do I want to look this up? Do I really want to? Guy in Love with Car. Surely you did. Chase. Yes. This is Johnny with the boat.
Together. He likes a lot of the same music I do. We have a favorite song. It's Can't Fight This Feeling by REO Speedwagon. I do get him gifts. How you'd buy something for your fiance or your wife. And then...
So just imagine... Stop. Fair. Just imagine that's Johnny with his ship. I love you so much, baby. I love you so much. I remember, sadly. Dude, they did an update video with him.
I think
like years later.
people will be surprised to hear Chase isn't a part of my life anymore. But I am now in an intimate relationship with my car, Lex.
Oh, okay. So Chase, the red car, passed on. Very sad. Very sad. To a junkyard, but he found a new love, so everything worked out at the end of the day. I don't know, he cheated. Yeah, they this is one of those things where I'm like, is he just like hamming it up to get on TV, or is it like real? I kind of want to choose to believe that he's hamming it up, but I also know there's a lot of crazy people out there. So I don't know, man. There's the other one. Yeah, woman in love with roller coaster. Hold on, there's one. Where is it? Yes, I'm making you sit through this.
Oh my God. After 5 months, it's good to see you.
Buckle up. Buckle up. Just wait.
He's just so noble, so proud, so strong.
He is.
I not only love him for a sexual attraction, I mean, we're not talking about fetish here.
Oh, no.
I
no,
love
no,
him as a mate.
Yeah, no, this is not a fetish thing. This is real passion.
I love the roundness of his counterweights at the top.
I love that about him too. The roundness of his counterweights.
I love him for the narrowness of his jibs.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. This isn't funny. This is real. This is real love right here. Okay? Stop. Don't be a bigot.
His counterweights at the top. I love him for the narrowness of his jibs.
Don't we all?
I love him for the elegant lines of his gondola, which is...
Does have a great gondola. Sure does. Sure does. One of the best, frankly. One of the best gondolae I've ever seen.
now covered up for the winter. I like the ribbing up underneath his name display there, too.
You gotta have a good ribbed display. I've heard lots of people say that, actually. That's a common desire.
The parallel lines that are coming down. You see where I'm talking about.
Yes, I see it. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
love that.
Okay, I can't do anymore. I can't do anymore. We're gonna stop there. We're gonna stop there. Sorry, not sorry. There you go. Did you know you're gonna start with that? That's how we were gonna start today? No, I didn't either. This is why I like this stream, is because we can just, you never know where you're gonna end up. Really, at the end of the day, you never know. We got to keep you guessing. Wasn't there a TLC episode of a woman that eats mattresses? Yeah, that whole show, I can't believe I'm like, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that whole show, My Strange Addiction, they just go and find people that are addicted to all sorts of insane things. So like, that is harmless. If you get off like on roller coasters, cool. If you are in love with your car, awesome. You're not hurting anybody, you're not hurting yourself, it's whatever. Like, that's beautiful. But they will show, like, they have episodes of people that like eat rocks or drink gasoline and stuff like that, which you should never do. It's like, episodes like that are like kind of playful and silly, but some of those episodes, dude, it's like circa mid 2000s, late 2000s. And it was in that era where reality TV was just going rampant and they just were like doing anything and everything. And, it got to the point where it really felt, I don't know if exploitative is the right term, but it was like making entertainment content, laughing at people with like serious mental issues, Cause like, I think if you're eating rocks, we got to do something. Like, something's not working right. Like I feel like at that point we should stop recording and we should go to the doctor. Or a psych ward or something, like to get you actual help. Said the guy that drinks candles. Okay. You got me there, but yeah, My Strange Addiction. Dude, TLC is crazy. People forget TLC is insane. What's crazier is that TLC, when it was started and founded, it's the Learning Channel. That's what it's called. The Learning Channel. So it was originally created to be a documentary channel that just showed documentaries, like PBS, but with higher production value. That was basically their goal. And then they ended up with lady who eats rocks and dude who's in love with his car. So there you go. Extreme Cheapskates was also funny. Yeah, that one was always interesting. There was like the couponers, like the guys that went crazy with coupons. Of course, the Duggars shows, like 19 Kids and Counting and everything. There were a lot. There were a lot of crazy things that you would not get greenlit today, that would not go over well today, but still, it's wild. Now we just watch those people on TikTok, we let them film their own stuff, and then you don't even need a show. Don't even need it. Problem solved. Let's see. Yeah, the Leering Channel. It's about how much learning you'll do on TLC, I'll tell you what. Glass Eater. Yeah, dude, there were so many that were just like horrifying, and just Like to get on that show, I think they had like you either had to apply or somebody had to basically nominate you and sign you up. And so I can't imagine being like, yeah, my uncle Dennis, he keeps drinking gasoline. We don't know what to do with that guy. What are we doing? The Amish show? Ooh, I didn't see that one. Was there an Amish show? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I remember a woman who was scared of frogs. That's a little funny. That's at least a little funny. It's a very, I wonder how that even starts. Like how does that psychologically start? I don't know. You want to see something insane real quick? Can I just share this with you? I saw this. It's from Summoning Salt's TikTok. I think it's his official one. But I saw this. I had never seen this, and it blew my mind. Show of hands in chat. Represent. Do we have any Lego Star Wars fans? Like OG Lego Star Wars, the good stuff. Okay, not this like modern era Lego Star Wars. That's like, gotta turn up the light. Hold on. Not like the the modern stuff that's just collectathon garbage. I mean the old school Lego Star Wars, the good stuff, Well, there's a new world record holder, and Summoning Salt put this little video together to show how he did it. I had never even begun to think how you would get the world record solo in Lego Star Wars. But it's even more insane than you probably were prepared for. Look at this.
And just break the Lego Star Wars world record. Well, like previous records, he played as 2 players on 2 separate controllers. This let him complete certain sections faster.
So this guy plays one character on mouse and keyboard and the other character on a controller, left hand on mouse and keyboard, right hand on the controller, and plays them both at the same time. And that's how he gets through levels faster, because you're basically playing co-op, but by yourself.
Zach constantly clipped through walls and went out of bounds, and hit nearly every trick he went for. It was his fastest pace ever through episode 4. The hardest part of the run is the second to last level, where you make tough jumps and clips to skip parts of the Darth Vader fight. But Zach had experience with this. See, he was the longtime record holder until he retired in 2024. This gave others an opportunity to break through until Zach returned in 2025 and began immediately setting records again. Because of all this experience, Zach was able to hold it together late and set a 27-second world record.
Yes, finally. Oh my god, it's over.
How did Zach...
That's just insane, dude. I can't even begin to fathom that. But I also, to be fair, I look at people who play the piano and I'm like, wow, like 2 different things at the same time. You're technically doing it if you type on a keyboard. You just don't realize it. It just becomes muscle memory, so you don't even have to think about it. And I'm sure that's what this is like. Like once you practice it enough, you can just do it, but it's still wildly impressive to me because it's not just controlling 2 characters at the same time, but each character usually has their own thing they need to do in combat or with puzzles. And so you're moving them independently. And then also there's other segments where he's doing skips where characters have to do very specific moves in order to clip through walls and stuff. And he's just casually doing it with 2 characters at the same time. Like that's crazy. That's actually crazy. So anyway, I figured I'd share that with you because it's mind-boggling. And every time you want to just be thoroughly impressed with the power of hyperfixation, just go look up speedrunners because they're crazy, dude. That's absolutely wild. I'm thoroughly impressed. I play piano and sing while sometimes also farting, says Mr. Blue Sky. That's why you are the best of us. That's why you're the best of us. Indeed. Blind Zelda speedrunning is crazy. Yeah, blind Zelda speedrunning. They'll do blindfolded, like I know Mario Kart, or not Mario Kart, Super Mario 64. They'll do all sorts of crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I mean, it's absolutely wild. Again, power of hyper fixation makes anything possible. Makes anything possible. Tell you what. Real quick, then let me say thank you to you guys. The short guy Noah, thank you for subbing over on Twitch, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, speedrunners are a different breed, man. Yeah, well, it's just when you decide to commit yourself to one game and just figure it out and go crazy, you can do wild things. What impresses me more, I think, than just the brute forcing of it are the people that go absolutely crazy with figuring out glitches and bugs and stuff. They'll dive into like the code of the game and they'll figure it out. Like there's one, what is it even called? I think it was in Mario 64, unexplained glitch. There was one glitch. Is it? Yeah, here it is. There's an entire video from Lunatic.
Misinformation is unfortunately common whenever people talk.
Did you get invisible walls?
What?
This.
Of collecting red coins and TikTok clock, when suddenly.
What the? Did you get invisible walls?
What? Mario warped straight up, past the graded ceiling above him before falling on top, skipping the climb up the platforms.
They don't know how this happened. Like this happened years and years and years ago. They don't know how it happened to this day. And they like have, there's theories that it was like a rogue solar flare that affected the ones and zeros in this particular console and flipped it, or it like crazy levels of detail to try and explain how that little thing just happened. Like years of research and crazy brilliance going into figuring out how the hell that even happened. Like analyzing all sorts of insanity.
Which contains the controller input data that could be played back in Mupin. Not long after Pan and Koek published the bounty announcement, people in the YouTube comment section would begin to theorize what may have caused the sudden upwarp. One theory that stood out was that a bit flip occurred in the game's memory that affected Mario's height, which might explain such a drastic warp. Pan and Koek would then test this hypothesis in a video uploaded to his secondary channel on August 6. In this video, he tasked Teabag's movement up until the up warp, where he then tested two different scenarios. The first was warping Mario straight to the ceiling, which didn't seem to quite match the original clip. The second scenario instead modified the first byte representing Mario's height from C5 to C4. These are hexadecimal bytes for 197 and 196 respectively.
Of course.
And when this byte is written in binary, you can flip the first bit to change it from 197 to 196.
Okay.
When Pan and Koek flipped this bit from 1 to 0, it resulted in an upwarp that was visually similar to the Dota Teabag clip. Although the comparison between the bit flip and the original clip was not a one-to-one match visually, this would become the leading hypothesis for the TTC upwarp for the time being.
Like, analyzing down to individual bits to figure out how this one glitch happened, because they're trying to break it apart and see if it's repeatable, if you could use this to skip time elsewhere, and it's just wild. It's just wild. Absolutely mind-boggling. If we have time, maybe we'll go through that because it's genuinely really cool. Really cool. Yeah, a cosmic ray traveled 92 million miles to flip a bit at Google HQ, so this video got recommended to me. There's actual theories that it was like a cosmic ray that flipped a bit and caused that to happen, which is insane. I don't know. I'm nowhere near smart enough to figure it out, but either way, pretty crazy. So yeah, those are the people that really blow me away, are the people that are just, hunker down and figure it out. It's really impressive to me. What was I just, oh yeah, I know what I was looking up. Here it is. Okay. Come on. Is this video blocked for me? Did it just stop loading? That's weird. Okay, the video is blocked, I guess, for us. That's weird. I guess we'll just look at it over here. I don't know what that's about. Okay. Not logged in. We are though. That's what's weird, is I've never had that happen before. It's just weird. I'm too young, apparently. Yeah. Too young. They're going to make me scan my face probably. Thank you for that sub, by the way, that short guy, Noah. Also, before we even started the stream, we had, where is it? AMR Saildwat? Saladwat? I'm not sure. Thank you for the sub over on Twitch, my friend. Appreciate you. Bobby, thank you for the $1 super chat on YouTube. Godsmack, thank you for the 5. I'm buying you a Crunch Wrap Supreme with my $7 Game Pass discount. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Love me some Taco Bell, tell you what. Gustavo, thank you for the super chat. 007 First Light new trailer looks dope AF. We will look at it just a moment. But yeah, we will look at that 007 gameplay drop. Olivina Trees, thank you for the 5 as well. So many games I want to play aren't out until the summer, and I'm in a gaming drought. I like my Souls-likes and life sims. Why can't they spread out? They do tend, I mean, when it rains, it pours. I will say, I wish I had more time right now. Like, I wish that I had 5 times the number of hours I could pour into games, because like we've got like Pragmata, of course. Crimson Desert is still a behemoth. There's other games I'd like to try, like Tomodachi Life looks interesting. We're about to get Saros. We're like about to get Lego Batman relatively soon. Like there's a lot of stuff coming. It's like a little insane. But that's why you just gotta pick your poison and pick where you're gonna put your time. And then when, you know, a dry month comes, you can pace yourself. That's been my problem, is that I just rush through them. Not really rush, but I hyperfixate and I blast through a game I really like, when I wish I wouldn't do that. Like, you know, I'd rather, if I'm loving a game, take my time and experience it over the course of like a month or two and really, really enjoy it and take my time, as opposed to like no-lifing it for a week, you know? You know, like I think it's to savor it. I think it's to savor it. Like with Red Dead 2, the best way to play that game, I think, is to savor it. I don't think you should try to blast through that game. Like, you got to take your time. You got to take your time. It's the same thing I told you guys with like Crimson Desert. I reached a point, which is no spoilers, but it's basically kind of like a Hanako at Embers moment, where like, you know, the story's wrapping up. And I was like, I don't want to be done yet. So I left and I just went exploring and doing other stuff. And that's like how I'm pacing myself with that game. So I'm like, I'm trying, in a lot of ways, I'm trying not to finish it. You know, I'm trying to avoid finishing it. Same thing with like Red Dead 2. There's that whole meme of people who ride, you know, they're just playing the game. They're on their horse in Saint Denis, and then Arthur starts hacking and sliding off his horse, and then they quickly unplug their console and like, nope. Because I don't want to start that. I don't want to start the downward trend, you know? I don't want to do that. I'm having fun being a cowboy. Let's just not bother with it. That's kind of where I'm at. I want to take my time. Fernando Brito, thank you for the 5. Since the subject is Lego, have you seen the Batman Lego new game required specs? It seems crazy for Lego game and also locks it down to Windows 11. Yeah, they initially, I believe it was Lego Batman, initially they announced it at 32 gigs of RAM. And then they walked it back and said it only needs 16. Lego Batman specs. Yeah. Here it is. Yeah, we have revised our recommended hardware specs from 32 gigs down to 16. I think the game looks great. Requiring 32 gigs of RAM would have been crazy. Like 16 is now considered to be the standard. And I know just saying that will upset some people because like, I've been using 8 gigs and it's fine. I get that. But it seems like that's kind of the standard for a lot of games nowadays, is 16. So it's heavy, but it also looks really good. It obviously, you know, insert joke about it being a Lego game, but dude, it looks the part. We'll see how it runs though. I'm worried it's going to be like stuttery. Hopefully not. As for the Windows 11 requirement, I don't think Windows 10 even gets updates anymore. I'm having to rebuild my wife, her PC because she's still on Windows 10. And I didn't realize, dude, she's running with like, she has a 3080 in her PC, but she's still running with 7700K. And so, which I think is like, what is that? 2017? I think 20, when did it come out? When did it come out? Am I looking right at it? Is it gonna tell me? Am I looking right at it? I feel like I'm looking right at it. Oh, CPU first seen on charts Q4 of 2016. So yeah, I think it was 2017 is when it dropped. Yeah, sometime in there. And so this CPU, I mean, dude, she has been grinding Marvel Rivals ranked. And whenever there's an update, she has to compile shaders. She has to like boot up the game. And I didn't realize she was doing this until she told me. And then I was like, dude, tell me and I'll work on that. She boots up the game and lets it run to compile shaders for like 4 hours before she goes and starts playing. So she will like start her process at like 4 p.m., boot it up to compile shaders for 4 hours before she can play it. Because like the CPU just takes forever to compile shaders. I was like, that shouldn't be like that. That should not be like that. So thankfully, back in like, I think it was late July, early August or something, I had gone down to Micro Center in Denver and got a bunch of PC parts before the RAM crisis skyrocketed everything up. And so I have a pile of PC parts to like upgrade her PC, and I was just like acquiring them slowly, and then we're going to rebuild the whole thing. And now I like need to do it because I did not realize she was taking like 4 hours to compile shaders. I was like, that is insane. That's crazy. That's crazy. There's a bunch of stuff going on in that computer that is not how it's supposed to be. Like I said, what made me think of it is Windows 10, because Windows 10 stopped getting updates, like the main updates. And so there's a lot of apps and programs that like aren't working properly anymore. Discord freaks out constantly. And she was just like, I just thought that was normal. I was like, no, I didn't realize, like, I'm not using that computer. I didn't realize how much trouble it was having. But yeah, we just have to redo it. Gotta redo it. So that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. Gotta love it. Highlanders Grim, thank you for the 5 months. Thank you. Trafalgar D Law, thank you for 5. Addicted to Road to Vostok, really good for a solo developer. Early access. Road to Vostok. I have heard of this. Yeah, it's a hardcore single player survival game set in a post-apocalyptic border zone between Finland and Russia. Interesting. Solo developer, you say too. Wow. 9 out of 10 on Steam, it says too. 200,000 copies. Yeah, I've seen this around. I've seen this around. Interesting. Glad to hear it's good. Dude, one thing, this, I'm going to, Hopium prediction, not even prediction, letter to the wise or something. I don't know what I'm saying. The biggest waste of potential, I think technologically in the last like 15 years has been Apple and gaming. And they've sort of like occasionally considered trying with gaming. They, like, if you remember a few years back, they introduced like their Metal API or whatever, and they're trying to like slowly introduce it. Some games like Crimson Desert runs on Mac OS, and there's examples like that. But dude, if Apple decided with their silicon to lean into gaming, which the new CEO might do, I think that could be a game changer, because there is just, I know a lot of us are PC users. There is nothing that compares in terms of efficiency to like a MacBook Pro on the marketplace. It's just ridiculous, especially for like the stuff it's optimized for, like video editing. It's not even close. If you could get to the point where Apple actually puts a lot of effort into optimization with their scale that they're able to build and compile things on, Like it could actually give a lot of gaming hardware manufacturers a run for their money, because these are ridiculously powerful computers. Like it's stupid how powerful they are, but there's very little effort that's been put into gaming compatibility and stuff. And so they've just never really had the chance to compete. But dude, if they were to put a lot of effort into it, mark my words, it could be a real game changer in a good way. Because again, competition is what's good for everybody. Competition at the end of the day is what forces everybody to get better. And even if there's ways that you can play PC games on Mac, you know, you use like a wine wrapper is what they call it. And it basically allows it to run Windows programs. So you can do it, but it's very roundabout. But if they were to put actual first party effort into compatibility to get those games working, just like on Steam Deck, where it's basically running, you know, a Windows copy of the game in Linux. If you were able to do that, but get it working with an Apple built and optimized wrapper for Mac OS with that level of performance, dude, it could be a game changer. It could be really crazy. And I think it's just such a waste of potential, because some of their hardware, dude, it is insane. It is outrageously powerful, especially for the price. It's crazy. And we use it for like video editing, photo editing, and like those creative processes that are also very compute intensive. And so, you know, we benefit from that hardware there. But I've always, whenever I'm using my MacBook, I'm like, this is such an insanely powerful computer. I wish I could game on it, period, full stop. But it's not a thing. How's Crimson Desert on Mac? Anyone tried it? It's way better than I would have ever thought it would be. Like, it's I was ready for it to chug and like be dropping frames constantly, but on my MacBook Pro, which is I think it's an older one. It's like M1, M2, something like that. It's not the new one. But even on that MacBook, it is impressive how it can run it and run it steadily, you know. And maybe that's Pearl Abyss doing a really good job. It's not running at 4K or anything. And that's the other piece, is that there's not any sort of there's no DLSS on a MacBook, you know, just there's nothing like that. So you're brute forcing whatever your resolution is. But I think if they were to put effort into it, make it a focus over the next few years, it could really, really shake things up. I don't know. Red Fox, are you going to talk about Amy's Uncharted 4? Reportedly so bad, surrounded by yes men to the point it almost got canned by Sony until they forced Neil and Bruce to fix it. Yeah, so if you're not familiar, I guess we can touch on this real quick before we get into our main stuff. Because I believe that also came from a Kiwi Talks interview as well. Yeah. We've talked about it before, so that's why we didn't like jump on it when the story broke, because this is something that we've been aware of and we've debated for a long time. So none of this is particularly shocking to me, but I guess we can touch on it real quick. New segment thing. So one of my favorite games, it's just a feel-good junk food game, is Uncharted 4. And that's not going to surprise anybody. It's like a game that has pirates, which I'm all in for. It's graphically stunning even to this day. Gameplay's pretty solid. The writing's really good. It's just overall a really solid game. I really enjoy it. It's crazy to think that this is a 2016 game, by the way. This is a 2016 game you're looking at. If this trailer dropped today, people would be like, wow, it's one of the best looking games of the year. It's wild how ahead of the curve they were. But anyway, with Uncharted 4, there's been all sorts of stories over the years about its development process. And it's an important game in the history of Naughty Dog, of course, because it is the point where there was a fork in the road and where Naughty Dog could basically go the way that they had been going with like Amy Hennig's direction for Uncharted and for the studio in general, or they could double down on Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley's vision, which was this potential for more gritty, grounded cinematic storytelling as opposed to, well, maybe cinematic. Uncharted 3 was cinematic. Maybe a better way of saying it is like less campy, you know, less blockbuster, you know, Michael Bay, you know, it more putting effort into characters and writing and letting that be at the forefront. And the reason I say there's been stories over the years going every which way is because it's been a point of dispute. It seems as though there's a different story depending on who you talk to. If you talk to some people from outside Naughty Dog, they will say that it was basically the success of The Last of Us that pushed Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley into the position where Naughty Dog loved their work and was like, you guys are going to take over Uncharted 4. It's kind of iffy right now. We're going to get rid of Amy and you guys just make it like The Last of Us. And it's basically framed by some people as The Last of Us was such a big hit for them, so much critical acclaim that they just decided to double down on that. The guys responsible for that, double down on that. More misery? Yeah, make it sadder. Make it more miserable and sad. Make me cry more. And then the other side of it is what we're going to mention today, which is a problem that is even more broad, which was that Uncharted 4 was, according to some people with direct knowledge, it was in a rough spot, a really rough spot, and that Neil and Bruce were brought in to basically save it. Now, the reason that this is like somewhat controversial as a discussion is because there's a lot of people out there, especially after The Last of Us Part 2, that have like a vendetta against Naughty Dog, a vendetta against Neil Druckmann. And especially after Uncharted 4, Bruce Straley left. He started his own company. They have a game coming out. They announced it late last year, I believe, at the Game Awards. I'm blanking on the name, but it's the one with like the big monster dude and the old lady that goes and explores maps with them. It looks really cute. But when Bruce left, there was all sorts of debate and discussion over why he left, and people were worried that now, it's everything that Naughty Dog does now is just going to be like The Last of Us Part 2. It's going to be really miserable. It's going to be tragedy porn. You know, it's just going to be how sad and depressed can we make you? And that's the video game, right? I'm not too interested in the debate over whether you like that style or not. What I'm interested in is what was going on with Uncharted 4. That's what we're talking about here. And that's where this gets really, really interesting. So after The Last of Us, in 2013, they do a DLC, the Left Behind DLC, and then times move forward, and it's clear that they need help with Uncharted 4. This is where this reporting that originally came from Kiwi Talks originates from. So there is an article written by Andrew Heighton on this interview with Kiwi Talks. Again, I've pointed you guys to go watch Kiwi Talks. Just Kiwi Talks on YouTube. Does a bunch of interviews with game devs. Does a great job. You can see Kiwi Talks right here. Fantastic channel. You should absolutely be following him. This just does a good job of transcripting it, which makes it a little easier for us to go through it. Now, this particular thing, as you can see, leading up to Uncharted 4, Naughty Dog had comfortably cemented the franchise as one of PlayStation's marquee IPs. Uncharted 4 was a series debut on the PS4, and it ended up being a technical marvel. According to a former Naughty Dog dev, this was far from the case at first. Uncharted 4 implied to have sucked and had to be remade, is what he says. Now, the reason that this is interesting is because, again, there's some people who would frame this as Neil and Bruce stole Uncharted away from Amy, and that Amy's version was going to be good, but they basically stole it away from her because they wanted to take over the studio and they pushed her out the door. That's what some people have been running with for the last few years, is this dynamic where they believe that Neil stole Naughty Dog away from Amy and those people that were working on the original version of Uncharted 4. This would suggest that it was much more of they needed to save the game. Okay, what is this specifically? Well, Gabriel Batencourt, which is a fantastic name, has worked for Monarch Games Incorporated for the last 7 years, primarily focused on technical lighting, game design, and app development. But if we turn back the clock, he worked at Naughty Dog from between July 2012 and February of 2019. His work includes The Last of Us, The Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted Lost Legacy, Last of Us Left Behind DLC, and crucially, Uncharted 4. That is a pretty solid resume, if I'm being real. Pretty solid resume. In an interview with Kiwi Talks, Battencourt opened up on, we believe, Uncharted 4's early days of development. Quote, I remember this one game prototype. I won't say which one, but there was a project that had been in production for 2.5 years, almost 3, and corporate had said, we're having questions about this. The franchise was successful up until that point. There was no reason to question that this thing would be successful. But at that time, the leader was surrounded by people who were always saying yes, and they were living in the glory of their success going into or onto their 4th project. I mean, this is Uncharted. We're talking about Naughty Dog, and he was there from 2012 to 2019. He's talking about a game that was the 4th entry in the franchise, 4th main entry that they had worked on. It's Uncharted. Okay, so anybody who's like, oh, so it might not be because he's not saying what the project is, it's Uncharted 4. Okay. And now they're delivering this deadline for a demo. And I think they just took it for granted. We've already had success before. We're going to have it again. We've done this 3 or 4 times already. So we're just going to be this great thing. So we're going to just be this great thing. One of the directors from another team was asked to weigh in, and I wasn't there. I only heard the story, and that director walked in the room full of all these people. He picked up the controller and said to everyone, this game sucks. The suggestion is, if this is another one of the directors from another team, Naughty Dog only had 2 teams, as far as we know, in that era. So the Last of Us team and Uncharted's team. And so one of the directors from the other team, that means it had to have been Neil or Bruce. Bruce, of course, was the gameplay director of The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, whereas Neil was like the writer and creative director. So it could be Bruce, it could be Neil, either which way. I'm guessing if they wanted the game, specifically the game test, it might have been Bruce, but we'll see. Battencourt explained that this left the entire room in shock. The project's director, who would have been Amy Hennig, was angry, and when somebody working on the game outed the comments as rude, the other director responded, quote, no, but the game sucks. There's no objectives. It's hard to follow what's going on. The controls are clunky. This isn't like you guys. This isn't what we delivered in the past. In the meeting, people walked out of there really upset. This director, I'm surprised, he had the gall to say something like that. Things didn't stop there, though. Battencourt revealed that higher-ups looked at the project, and at first, they were continuing the game's development and would ignore the naysayer. Where have we heard that before? I'm not sure this is a good idea. Should we really have, in Suicide Squad, should we really have one of the characters pee on the Flash? That seems kind of distasteful. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Be positive. Be positive. Shut up. Hey, in this game we're working on Forspoken, the cuff and the girl talking to it constantly, it's like really annoying and cringy. Can we cut some of the dialogue? Shut up. Shut up. This is awesome. You like it. Shut up. This attitude doesn't tend to work out well, because usually, sometimes, let me be clear, sometimes there are haters. But when you're talking about developers in the studio who are all trying to make a game that's successful or make a thing that's successful and that their audience will like, that kind of pushback and critical feedback is important. Like, you should never want an environment and a culture of constant, nonstop positivity and upbeat, like, encouragement 24/7, because that's not how you flush out bad ideas. Because maybe this is controversial to say, I'm a firm believer that there are usually just as many bad ideas as there are good ideas. And it's important to be able to flush out the bad ones and keep the good ones. But if you just mix all of them together, that's how you get hodgepodge messes that maybe have strong elements. Forspoken is a great example of a game that had a lot of really good elements. The combat system, graphically for the time, the particle effects, all that stuff was really, really well done. But the writing sucked ass. And as a result, the whole project was pulled down. Even though they had good ideas, because they didn't get rid of enough bad ones, the whole thing was pulled down. You know? Same, yeah, Veilguard's another example. It had a lot of really solid things. Like, I thought gameplay-wise, it was solid enough. It was optimized out the ass. It ran really well. Graphically, it was really impressive. There were a lot of really good things about Veilguard, but one of the important things, probably one of the most important things for a Dragon Age game, is the writing, and especially with the companions. And that was really bad. We know our fans really want steamy romances. So let's have them drink a cappuccino and chill in a closet and then fade to black. And that's it. After 10 hours of gameplay, that's what you get. That's your steamy romance. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, so things didn't stop there. Okay, ignore the naysayer. But then he added that corporate took things further. And again, you remember the dynamic. Uncharted is coming off of Uncharted 3, Uncharted 2. Like, these are fantastically successful games that people knew and loved. But it's not in a vacuum. Uncharted 4 is being made in the shadow of The Last of Us. And the shadow of The Last of Us, I'm sure, was one of the most imposing and haunting things for a team ever. It came out of nowhere. Original IP is lauded as one of the best games ever made. It wins countless Game of the Year awards. It's like a masterpiece across the board. Really set into motion a new era for cinematic storytelling in gaming. Like, it really was a fantastically successful thing for them. And it's something Sony loved. Through and through. Sony loved having a new project that was like a critical darling. And one of those directors responsible for that tremendously successful thing is saying that your project sucks. And I'm sure that that was communicated at some point to corporate as well. And corporate's going to be like, I mean, they just nailed it. They just knocked it out of the park. And they think this is bad. So do you think they're lying? You know, what is the suggestion here? You guys are in trouble, he said. We're going to pull funding from this if you guys don't fix this. As a result, the director of that project was pulled away. That would have been Amy. Even though they they had been successful, and the naysayer, along with the two others, were put in to help fix it. And then the game had to be redone. Then 2.5, 3 years later, so 5 to 6 years total production, the game became a success. Now, Uncharted 4 is never referenced at any point in the story. However, based on the events and timeline, it's clear the game is Uncharted 4. During Battencourt's time at Naughty Dog, the only series to get a fourth main entry was Uncharted, true. Crash Team Racing was well before his employment, true. So, I mean, yeah, it's Uncharted. There's no doubt with that. And again, this is we looked at a snippet of this interview on Monday as well. But it's a fascinating little tidbit that changes the dynamic. Now, for me, the general approach that I take with this stuff is just Occam's razor. Okay, like, as far as I can tell, some people are suggesting that this was a grand conspiracy on the part of like Neil to steal the game and to steal the studio away and take control of Naughty Dog and all this. And this was just part of that process and part of that strategy. And so you're implying that he and all of corporate and everybody was saying that this was bad, even though it wasn't. And then he got these people booted out so he could take control. I'm like, okay. Or maybe it was just not very good. Maybe it was the case that the team started to believe their own hype and lost sight of what was like going to connect with fans. Because there's a lot of other people that have also said that there were problems with Uncharted 4 when Neil and Bruce were called in to take over. Sony, I'm sure, would have been just fine if they had been able to just give them the keys to the kingdom and let them go off and work on The Last of Us Part 2 right away. But they needed to salvage Uncharted 4. And so they ended up rebuilding and redoing a lot of stuff. So I'm more inclined to believe that the project probably was just honestly having troubles and they came in to try and overhaul it. I think also, more generally, there's also a broader creative decision on the part of Naughty Dog leadership and Sony, where they were looking at it. And like I said, it was kind of a fork in the road where they could choose to double down on like the campy stylings of the original Uncharted trilogy, which reportedly is what Uncharted 4 originally was going to have, is that it was going to also be pretty campy. The previous Uncharted games featured a lot of like supernatural elements. You notice none of that is at play in Uncharted 4. It's much more, to borrow one of Neil's terms, grounded. you know? And so I think that is part of the consideration with all this, in addition to the project having troubles, was just that, you know, if we're having trouble getting this across the finish line and we have this new generation of leadership that is knocking it out of the park, let's just have them take over. And Amy, naturally, I don't blame Amy. If I worked on something for years and then I felt as though it wasn't bad, and yet there's these two new guys who just kind of came out of nowhere and had a really successful project blow up, and they're going to come in and they're being given my game taken away from me, and I'm having it I'd be upset too. Who wouldn't be? We'd all be pissed. You know, it's a very reasonable reaction. That's totally reasonable. I feel for Amy, and she went through years of difficulties after Uncharted to get like something out the door. Even right now, she's working on Marvel 1943, and that's been delayed to hell and back as well. So I feel for Amy. She is an OG and she knows what she's doing, and she's a phenomenal game designer, and you know, nobody should doubt that. She's very, very good at what she does. But that doesn't mean that every project that she touched was perfect. And there's plenty of games that, you know, are being run by people who know what they're doing that go through development troubles. It's something that happens, you know. Making a game is hard. But I think with this, paired with other reporting we've seen and other rumors and leaks and things from former devs, it makes sense to me that the game was having troubles and that Neil and Bruce were called in to fix it. Bruce decided to leave the studio. It seemed like in all the interviews, they suggested that a lot of it was effectively burnout, creative burnout, or just the crunch just wiped him out. It was a big problem in The Last of Us. And then with Uncharted 4, they crunched for like years straight. And Bruce was like, I can't do this again all the way through The Last of Us Part 2. So Bruce left, and then Neil was pretty much the last man standing at the very, very tip top of Naughty Dog going into The Last of Us Part 2 and now Intergalactic and everything like that. There's other people like Kurt, for example, who are game designers and directors at Naughty Dog. Sean Eskeg is also one of the game directors over there, and he is reportedly, allegedly, possibly working on Uncharted 5, which will take some form. But I think that it's much less of a conspiracy than the game was having trouble, and so they brought in the two directors that just killed it to fix it and save it. And when they did that, they were given the keys to the kingdom and they took over fully. I think that that's a much easier and simple explanation. Again, going back to Occam's razor, the solution with the least number of variables is usually the correct one. And in this case, I think it's got the least moving parts to just look at it and be like, there's a lot of people saying the project had trouble and problems. And it makes sense if I was Sony or if I was an owner at Naughty Dog and I'm looking at who I should give the keys to the car to. Yeah, it makes sense to give it to the guys that just killed it with The Last of Us and let them fix it. And then naturally, if they save it and fix it, yeah, I'm going to let them do whatever they want and give them, you know, control of the studio. Why wouldn't you? You know, they just hit it out of the park twice in a row. And so I think that that's the more reasonable explanation. I know people love the idea of a big scandalous, like, carefully considered ploy to steal the company away. I just don't see that as being realistic. I think it's just much more plainly the game was having troubles. They fixed it, and when they fixed it, they were given the keys to the kingdom because they saved a project that represented a massive investment. So there you go. The problem is after 3 successes, she wasn't even given the chance to co-direct. After 3 wins, there should be some grace. To be clear, there's different philosophies within management with these types of things. I'm understanding your statement as suggesting that she should have been demoted to co-director or to a supporting director or given another project or something. I'm of the mind, as are a lot of other people who have run their own companies and stuff. I don't think you can demote people and it works. I don't think that works. Like it creates an uncomfortable and unhealthy dynamic. There's a weird power shift where things just don't work the way that you would think they should. I don't believe you can demote somebody and have the company function the way it should. For Amy to be the director and then be demoted and placed under Neil and Bruce, having to follow their direction and orders after she was in charge for like a decade. I don't see that working. And so it's pretty common at most companies to just be like, I think maybe we just part ways, maybe we just part ways. And I don't, even if it was her choice and she decided maybe they were willing to give her something else and she's like, no, you just stole this game away from me. I'm leaving. That would be a totally reasonable thing for her to do too. I don't think anybody would give her any guff for that. I think that's a very reasonable reaction. I'd be pissed as well. But I think it's just an unfortunate reality that if you've been in charge of something, it's not working and they need to put somebody else in charge of it. It doesn't work to just be like, well, you just go and sit in the corner and we'll take over, but you still are part of the team, That's sad though. That's business though. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about preserving feelings. It's about making the game that you just spent millions and millions on function. Because you can, if it's bad for the dynamic of the company and the whole team, what are you going to do? Preserve the feelings of one director whose work wasn't really working out, or save the project, which saves hundreds of jobs? I think people would rather you save the project and everybody's livelihood than some feelings from some people. And I don't think it would even save the feelings either. Like, I think Amy would still justifiably be upset and pissed, My problem is people blaming Neil and Bruce for it when it's almost guaranteed a Sony thing. Well, I'm sure, again, nothing happens in a vacuum. I'm sure that the dynamic was that Bruce and Neil just made The Last of Us. And so when Sony executives are looking at what they should do, they probably went in the office and the studio and asked, like, hey, man, off the record, like, what do you think is going on? Do you think that game looks good? Do you think Uncharted 4 is in a good spot? No? Okay. Well, I mean, I'm taking your word with a lot of weight because you know what you're doing. You just made us a crap ton of money and won us a ton of awards. So I think it's just much more reasonable that they probably provided their feedback. And if they honestly thought the game was bad, as other people have also said, it makes sense that Sony would take action and give them the keys. Does that mean that it was solely, Neil's choice? No, it's a process with all of it. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, we talked about Tim Cook last stream as well. Yeah. Do you think we'll be seeing anything from Intergalactic soon? Yeah, I think sooner than people expect we'll see something with it. But anyway, it's a fascinating story, and again, one that's been debated back and forth. What I don't want to do is do like revisionist history. A lot of people are retroactively trying to say that like Uncharted and The Last of Us 1 were actually really bad games because we didn't like The Last of Us Part 2. And like I don't want to do that stuff. Like, no, Uncharted 4 was awesome. It was freaking sweet. Last of Us was freaking awesome. It was freaking sweet. And just because you didn't like The Last of Us Part 2 doesn't mean that you have to retcon everything, Two things can be true. You don't have to like The Last of Us Part 2 or Neil's politics or whatever. That's fine. You don't have to rewrite history and pretend like these games that were critically acclaimed and universally praised were actually terrible. That's I think a little silly. It's a little silly. But either way, fascinating story. Again, my feeling is that where there's smoke, there's fire. And when a lot of people are saying that Uncharted 4 was having problems, which is why they had to take over, I'm inclined to believe them because I think it also makes the most sense. It probably was having troubles. It probably wasn't coming together the way they wanted it to. Sony was unhappy. People on the team were not allowed to provide really critical feedback. And, it just spun and spun until it was clear it wasn't working. And then they put two guys in charge of it to overhaul it and fix it. And clearly it worked because Uncharted 4 is really good. But there you go. Tim Apple did kick ass. Still got the door. Rip. The door to the retirement home, you mean? He's doing just fine. Trust me. Trust me. It was actually expected. He started the process of his retirement probably like 2.5, 3 years ago. Because you'll notice if you look back, a lot of Apple senior executives started getting shuffled around. A bunch of them left, and there were a bunch of other people. But that's also a story going back to the point of like, they should have given Amy another role in the company or something. Even Apple, like a lot of the senior executives that were vying for the chance to become the next CEO, when it was clear they were not going to get it, they started leaving the company. And some of those people were maybe climbing the ranks. They were thinking maybe I'm going to be here. A lot of those people were previously above the new guy, Turnus. They were previously his boss, and they left before he was named the CEO. Because it's just there is a dynamic that is present when you have been the boss and then you are demoted, whether somebody's promoted above you or you are lowered. Doesn't really matter. The point is the dynamic has shifted. When you go from being the one in charge, the adult in the room, basically, and now you are the follower, things just don't work the same way, you know? Absolute sharks leave when you're already so high. Well, I mean, to be fair, if you are an executive at Apple, you can leave and just go get a job at Meta or Nvidia or whatever. Like, you're going to be fine. You'll go find something else and make stupid money. Like, they're not, you know, hopping on Indeed is what I'm saying. They're going to be just fine. So they will just leave and do their own thing. But rather than be underneath somebody, they just, that they previously were in charge of, they just leave and go start somewhere else. And that is what it is. But anyway, dude definitely wanted to leave. Well, to be clear, Steve Jobs was CEO of Apple in his second run from 1997 to 2011. So he was in charge for 11 years or 14 years. And then of course he passed away, but that is a pretty significant amount of time for somebody to be CEO of a tech company. That's a good length of time. And then of course, Tim Apple, he has been and will have been CEO for 15 years when he leaves. So the new guy is expected to be here for the long haul, you know, but 15 years is a long time to be the head of one of the world's biggest companies. I mean, that's a lot of time. So we'll see. Real quick, let me read these. Where did I leave off? Brillig, thank you for the membership, my friend. RPG Veteran, thank you for that super chat. Hi, Luke. I'm finally playing The Expanse today. Oh, the beta? Nice. Beta. Jack Skelly, thank you for the 2. I think your content is too cheesy. 6 out of 10. Hell yeah. Too cheesy and too many cheese puns. And what was the other thing they said? Oh, too much ludonarrative dissonance. Yeah. DBZZ now, thank you for the 5. The PS4 era was truly lightning in a bottle situation. Everything lined up perfectly. I do not think we'll see something like this again. Well, it was a perfect mix of like intense competition, a lot of hunger, the proper executives that wanted to double down on the right things. So it really was like a perfect storm in so many ways. But at the same time, I think we could get back there. It's just, I think post-COVID, things got screwed up really bad. The PlayStation double down and focus on live service ate up basically 5 years of time and billions of dollars. That seems to be on its way out at the very least. And I'm much more optimistic that like in the next few years, we'll start to get a lot of those games that have been in development for ages, and we'll start to get a pretty steady pace of them. I mean, we should be getting big games from like Elder Scrolls, The Witcher. We should be getting, of course, GTA allegedly. We should be getting Intergalactic, possibly a new Uncharted at the same time. We should be getting Wolverine and potentially the Venom game as well. We should be getting potentially a new Cory Barlog God of War spinoff game, and they're also working on the next big God of War mainline game as well. Like, there's a lot of big studios that were big and influential in the PS4 era that should have stuff relatively soon. So we will see. The Nerdy Giant, thank you for the 5. So the Howard candle you have doesn't have, or does it have 10 times the scent? No, 16 times. 16 times the smellage. SK Under the Dome, thank you for the 10. Very generous, thank you. Luke, did you see the Chris Avellone interview where he said after New Vegas, BGS made a PowerPoint for Obsidian on everything they did wrong with it? Yeah, I did see that snippet. I want more details on it because I'm so curious. I'm so curious. And especially if they did that and like went through, this is what you should have done and this is how we would change it. It makes it all the more hilarious that in pretty much every single list of the best Fallout games, New Vegas is well above Fallout 3. And for many people, it's above Fallout 4 as well. Which just makes it all the more delectable. You know, it's just extra delicious. It's just crazy that like they're trying to lecture them, but then which game stood the test of time more, you know? It's fascinating. Lots of GTA 6 new leaks. Is this credible? I don't think so. There's been a lot of screenshots and things that have leaked in the last like week and a half, 2 weeks. As far as I'm concerned, if you cannot tell if it is AI generated or real, like a real in-game development screenshot, it's not useful. So like, who cares? You know? Because if it's so like, I can't tell. There's like nothing on screen that's particularly interesting. It's just like super placid and safe. Is I don't know. Because you can literally go. We have a bunch of in development leaks that are legitimate from like 2022. So you can just take one of those screenshots, put it into an AI image generator, and just say, make another screenshot that looks just like this, but from a different camera angle. And put a hamburger in his hand or something. Like you can just do little stuff like that and make a new original leak that looks like it could be very real, you know, unless you are really, really looking close or able to get the original file to see if it has one of the embedded like AI generated watermarks or something. But other than that, man, like it's just, I don't think it's that useful. So I think at this point, a lot of us are just tired. You know, a lot of us are just tired and I'll just wait for the trailer. So yeah, I'm good. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm good. Are we still going to watch that video from last stream? We're going to watch a smaller variant. So it's from another creator, but it's not an hour and 40 minutes long. If people like it, we'll go and do that full deep dive and we can look at the hour and 40 minute one. That's going to take us like 3 hours to get to. But I watched a couple snippets of it and it's just tricky because it's like there's one screenshot of one character and then there's like 10 to 15 minutes of talking about the potential role he could have in the story and how he could relate to these other characters. And it does just get to the point where it's like, I don't know how useful this is, you know? So we'll see. Hold on. I have to delete stuff off of the SSD. My computer is like, oh God, we're at capacity. Oh my God. Here, I'll just delete these. Okay, delete. OBS is like, I'm running out of space, you dumbass. Help me. Red alert. Yeah, literally. Red alert. I'm scared. Fear is entering me. Is this what fear feels like? I was just learning to love. Surefire Plan, thank you for the 100 bits, by the way. Do you think Indiana Jones The Great Circle deserves a sequel? And do you think they will make one? I think it does. I would love to see a sequel. I love those kinds of games. The archaeological, historical, crazy, like big blockbuster moments. Indiana Jones was really, really good. Really, really good. I genuinely think if it had launched like a month or two earlier, it would have been like significantly, I think it would have had more legs. You know, it launched in December. It was in that weird spot where it didn't really it didn't really have the chance to make as big a splash because a lot of like creators and outlets were on holiday break, and the Game Awards had already happened, so it was too late, couldn't be nominated for it. And so it just was in a weird spot. But I think if it had launched like a month earlier, it would have been a much bigger deal for a lot of people. But we'll see. We'll see. I think they should. I think they should. But to be fair, that is a Disney property, and so I know Disney takes a big cut, big old girthy cut of every copy sold. So I'm sure that complicates it. Because even if you sell like 10 million copies, but you have to pay 30% to Disney, to the mouse, it may make more sense to go with something like an IP that they own, like Wolfenstein or something, and sell 7 million or 6 million copies, shoot for that, and you'll make more money. Even though you sold less, you'll make more money because you're not paying 30% tax to the mouse, you know? So it's going to be interesting. They also fund a lot of it, I think. Usually how it works is that like they'll put money up and they expect to get the money back, but a lot of publisher relationships work that way, where like they'll put money up and they're going to get their money back. You know, they get first dib on the money that comes in, but yeah, they help bankroll it. I don't know if that's the terms of this agreement, but it's not that important either way. Troy Baker absolutely killed it. Dude, for real. For real. Absolutely killed it. Like scary how accurate it was. Okay, let's do this real quick. Let me mention this. Just in case you missed it, new mini segment thing. In case you missed it, Dawnwalker. Blood of Dawnwalker. This is the new upcoming game from the team that splintered off of CDPR. A lot of former Witcher 3 devs, for example, are working on this. They are on April 28th at 9 a.m. Pacific. They are going to host a 45-minute stream discussing new open world gameplay, story trailer, release date, system requirements, dev insight into the game's open world and storytelling, epic music, and much, much more. And this is the little snippet that they shared.
I want you to watch.
Every story begins somewhere.
It's a world that stays with you.
What did you do to me?
That was quick, but did you see it? Did you see? Where is it? Right here. Look at this cool, like bony skeleton griffin looking thing. When I first saw this, I thought it was like an actual griffin. I was like, oh, it's like full on The Witcher 3. But no, it's like a weird skeleton bird thing. I don't even know what this is. But it's freaky. It's freaky. I'm excited for this one. I'm really, really excited for this one. And like, I think the game already looks really solid. They've got some clever, unique ideas, such as the in-game time, like time being a currency, which I think is interesting. And I love new, fresh ideas that are just trying something different. That's how you make progress, is by taking risks and doing things that initially people hear and they're like, I don't know how that works. And then they try and like, oh, I get it. You know, I'm very into this. And it's a team that knows what they're doing, and they seem to be doubling down and focused on the right stuff. And man, I want it. Give me, please. Give me money now. Money me now, please. Please. Money now me. It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. I'm trying to keep my expectations lower though, because I don't want to overly hype myself up, okay? My expectation is, as with most studios who do their first ever game, usually the first ever game from a new studio has a little bit of clunk. It's a little janky. Maybe the controls aren't super tight, or maybe the combat's a little clunky or shallow or something. But it has a lot of amazing ideas that they can expand upon, you know? If you look at, but it's important to give them a chance even with that, because look at like The Witcher 1. If they launched The Witcher 1 today, I don't think they would have been given the chance to make The Witcher 2, which is sad because they showed that they were able to like really go crazy and nail it with The Witcher 2, and then they took it up even another level with The Witcher 3, you know? Another example being like Plague Tale. Plague Tale, of course, that was a studio that was established, but with Plague Tale Innocence, they kind of laid the foundation for what the IP would be. And then Plague Tale Requiem, they just smashed that ball out of the park, blew everybody away. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. So I think it's really important to be able to give teams the chance to get their feet under them and then to really knock it out of the park. And in this case, I'm expecting this to be really good. I do expect some clunk and jankiness, but that's not a deal breaker for me. And in fact, I think for these types of games, if you believe in the vision and the team and you see what they're doing, it's one of those things where it's important to still support the team and be like, yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys do next, you know? And with this, I think that they're laying the groundwork. So maybe they hit it out of the park and it's like 10 out of 10 and frickin', you know, absolute masterpiece right out of the gate, which does happen sometimes, like, you know, Expedition 33, for example. But it's rare. It's very rare. But maybe they do that. My guess would be it'll be a little janky, a little clunky, but I still think it looks really, really, really good. And I'm excited to see what comes of it, because I if we get another studio that blows up and is doubling down on like single player narrative focused games, like, ooh, I'm so there for it. As I've said, you know, we talked on stream maybe a few months ago. I think it was towards the end of last year. Somebody asked a question. They're like, what do you think is going to be the next big studio? And it's a good question, but it's important to remember, like, if you rewind the clocks 10 years, the biggest studios and companies today, many of them were unheard of 10 years ago or didn't exist 10 years ago. You know, they come out of nowhere or they're very niche and then they blow up into the mainstream. Nowadays, like, one of the most accomplished and awarded studios in the world is Larian behind Baldur's Gate 3. 10 years ago, circa 2016, I don't think anybody was like, it was a very niche studio, very niche. Very few people knew about them. Very few. I mean, CDPR 10 years ago, yeah, people had heard of them. But, you know, now people are keeping their eyes on like Sandfall. They didn't exist 10 years ago, you know? You never know how quickly things can shift and change and evolve, and you know, how one studio can come out of nowhere with some fresh ideas and just kill it, you know? It's absolutely wild. What did they do before Baldur's Gate 3? They did like Divinity Original Sin 2 was their previous one. And before that, Divinity Original Sin, you know? So they had done other stuff, but it was very, very niche. And at the same time, you know, just because there's a studio that's at the top today does not mean they'll always be at the top. There's studios that rise and fall, that run into trouble and have difficulty getting stuff out the door or have trouble meeting their fans where their fans want them to be. Bungie is maybe a good example. They were just like a few years ago, they were like 1,800 people strong. Nowadays, I think their studio is around like 700 something. Like, they were decimated. Team is way smaller. Their games are struggling and not blowing up the way that they did. But if you rewound the clocks to like when Destiny 2 launched, you'd think that they would always be the biggest thing ever. BioWare is another example. Yeah, they had a lot of trouble. They were a lot of trouble. Judas technically is from a new studio. Who knows if they'll ever launch the game? I'm optimistic, but yeah. Rocksteady? Yeah, dude, if you rewind the clocks to 2016, I think I and many other people would have said, I cannot wait to see what Rocksteady's next game is. They just made Batman Arkham Knight. They just made Arkham Knight, which to this day, over a decade later, still is one of the most graphically impressive games ever released. And is anybody like really, really crazy, maybe optimistic for that? Like, things change. Things change really quickly. Really, really quickly. Rip Rocksteady. Huh, they're still out there. Who knows? The last report we got was that they were working on a pitch for a new Batman game. They were returning to their roots for a single player Batman game. I'm hopeful, with that. I hope they can kind of redeem themselves and kill it, but they've got quite the uphill battle. Because they burned a lot of goodwill with that last game. Tell you what. Another great example of a studio that comes out of nowhere, like, is freaking Avalanche. Avalanche made the biggest selling or highest selling game of 2023, outsold Call of Duty. And the game they made before that game was Cars 3 Driven to Win. Like, the guys that did Hogwarts Legacy, this is what they did right before that. So just like different Avalanche. Yeetus, that Avalanche, there is a studio called Avalanche that did Just Cause, but this is a different Avalanche. There's two different ones. But absolutely crazy, right? But it goes to show you, this is another great reminder of how there's amazing, phenomenal talent everywhere in the industry. Even if you're working on like movie tie-in games, which a lot of people kind of disregard as just quick kind of contracts to make some easy money from Disney or something. There's still amazing world-class talent everywhere you look. You just gotta give them the chance to make something that really blows up. And in this case, I mean, they showed that they had what it took to take a, like, granted, one of the world's biggest IP, but to actually make a game that those fans connected with. It's pretty impressive. So they went from banger to banger. Exactly. We should have known. No, it actually, for me, personally, it was a real realization that even if a studio has not done something that has like really blown you away before, it does not mean they are incapable of that. They can still blow your mind. You just got to give them the chance. If they just made a masterpiece, does that make them more likely that the next game is a masterpiece? Probably, sure. If they've demonstrated they're capable of it, then I think that makes sense. But it's not, you can't count them out, just because they haven't done something great or amazing and epic yet. You got to give them a chance to do that. MMORPGL, thank you for the membership, my friend. Appreciate you. Ka-chow, says Sneaky Pickle indeed. Spoofman, thank you for the 5. What do you think then are studios that are on the verge of being seen as those top tier studios but aren't there yet? I've said Owlcat is one to keep an eye on. Owlcat gives me strong Larian vibes circa 2018, 2019. Like, they're making games like Rogue Trader, for example, which are phenomenal RPGs, but they're still very niche. But I think all they need is that one game that clicks with a lot of people that blows up. So I think Owlcat is one to really keep an eye on. I think that they could really surprise you and just explode out of nowhere. They're the ones I'm keeping an eye on for sure. There's also this smaller studio. I don't know if you've heard of it. Santa Monica studio. They're pretty good. I think they could do well. We'll see. Yeah, they've got full cinematic expanse games soon. Exactly. Well, that's the first time they're breaking out of their comfort zone, really out of their bubble. So I'm hopeful that explodes. Yeah, a new upcoming studio, Naughty Monica. Yeah, exactly. Where did I put that? I think the shirt is upstairs. I got that shirt. Anyway. Let's look at this. New segment thing. Okay, fam. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. I got a cool email I can't tell you about. Haha, you don't get to know. Let's do this. Shift Up. I could see Shift Up blowing up too. They just announced a new partnership, didn't they? S Game, yeah, I could see S Game also exploding if they continue to knock it out of the park. Pearl Abyss also, if they can get games out faster, Pearl Abyss could also explode. I don't know if Doki V is gonna have a lot of mainstream appeal in the States, but never say never. Because I look at Doki V and I'm like, I don't even know what this is. You know, but maybe it explodes. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about this new segment thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we just got a new trailer thing, deep dive look, I don't know what to call it, on 007. Somebody in chat actually just a moment ago was saying that this looked really baller and that you wanted to hear my thoughts and hear us talk about it. So why not? There's no time like the present. Let's see. This is the 007 First Light Rules of Spycraft. I'm guessing it's going to talk about stealth gameplay. Let's see.
Everyone, welcome to MI6. To succeed in the 00 program, agents must understand a set of rules that will grant them all possible chances to survive.
Okay.
So, take a deep breath, listen up, and you may learn how to get the job done and return to HQ in one piece. The first rule.
First, before we get into it, honest question. Why do British people say H? It's H. You add in an extra huh to it. It sounds weird, fam. I'm not saying it's like why we like threw all that tea in the river, but I think it was part of it, you know? H, because it's correct. How dare you? How dare you? Unbelievable.
Is to know how to blend in. Keeping a low profile while navigating a crowd will help you find different paths to your objective.
Ken Banks, penetration tester.
Pay attention to the surroundings.
I am not going to make a joke about being a penetration tester. It's a legitimate job. It's respectable. And I know that if I were to say a joke about being a penetration tester, somebody in the comments or on Reddit would be like, I'm a penetration tester like my daddy and his daddy for him. Show us some damn respect. And then, you know, I've got another scandal on my hands. So I'm not even going to do it. It is a respectable opinion, respectable job. And I'm going to leave it there.
You find different paths to your objective.
Ken Banks, penetration tester.
Pay attention to the surroundings, eavesdrop on conversation, and talk your way in with the help of unexpected allies.
Relax, fellas. He's with me.
Once trespassing, slip past your opponents unnoticed, or use takedowns to silently get rid of them. When confronting a whole group of enemies, you may choose a gentler approach.
And hut. Rob Minkley, Crux Magazine.
Bluffing is an art that will serve you well, whether getting caught red-handed.
Over here. Looks like a trust fall gone wrong.
Or to simply pass through a room under enemies' noses.
Oi, you lads got a faulty coffee machine?
Bluffing consumes...
Sorry, I love the idea of the guys getting curb stomped, passed out on the floor, and he's like, it looks like a trust fall gone wrong. Weird. Strange. This, though, to be clear, so the bluff system down here, you can see it, the bluff, you have to earn it. It's like its own little charge, basically. But that is tied to like a lie that 007 will say to NPCs when encountering them or caught in some situation to distract them or something else. But what is interesting is that these bluffs can be called out depending on who you're trying to bluff. So, for example, they've thought of how if there is the head of security, I'm not saying this is, but hypothetically, let's say this is the head of security. He's like basically an elite class of NPC, enemy, guard, whatever. If you try to bluff him and you're like, oh, I'm just on patrol. I've been upstairs on patrol, but I'm just coming down. I got to use the restroom. He would know who is on patrol. He would know who is on the security detail and that you are not. And so he'd be able to see through it and call you out. And that bluff would not work. And then you have a problem on your hands. So it's trying to add layers of complexity to it. So it's not just like a get out of jail free card. So you have to actually like think before you do something. Imagine that going for shit. So I've got to go take an H. Sorry, I can't even say what I'm trying to joke about it. H. It's insane. It's insane.
Instinct and won't be available if a more experienced enemy is nearby. In this scenario,
I could have just waited till they said it. I don't know why I'm here.
You won't get far without the appropriate gear. Therefore, the second rule is to always come prepared.
Well, what are we waiting for?
MI6 will keep its doors open for you between missions, giving you the chance to catch up with familiar faces, gather intel, and prepare for your next move.
So, your name is Moneypenny.
Now let's not get carried away, James.
QLab, on the lower level, will give you access to a wide range of gadgets.
I like it. Don't change a thing.
Each tool is designed to go unnoticed on the field, but help with maximum efficiency.
Right, follow me. I have some.
Dude, that's dirty. Getting blown up while taking a piss. That's a rough way to go. That's a rough way to go. The disrespect.
On the field, but help with maximum.
Like, seriously, the disrespect. Absolutely unhinged. I love it.
Efficiency.
Right, follow me. I have something for you.
The Q lens will highlight useful information about opportunities and hackable devices. Your Q watch should be able to activate these to divert attention, deactivate cameras, or get rid of unsuspicious enemies in creative ways. The dot phone can quietly move enemies out of the way. The smoke pod, a timeless classic, will block visibility at short range. The modified earbuds will produce a flash of light to stun opponents. Other gadgets will be developed in due time and will help you stay creative in all circumstances.
Who do you work for? Take the shot!
Knowing how to improvise is a matter of life and death in the midst of action. Any object at disposal could prove useful to put an enemy's ideas back in their place. The same could be said of guardrails, electrical panels, or any surface hard enough to act as a weapon. Under heated circumstances, MI6 grants you a license to kill, allowing for even more possibilities to get rid of hostiles. In these situations, any weapon could be used as long as you manage to obtain it. Switch between different playstyles to catch your attackers off guard, and don't forget to return what you borrowed once out of ammo. Some enemies will be harder to defeat, and gadgets will help you get rid of soldiers' armors, stun tenacious leaders, and defuse grenades with the simple press of a button from your watch.
That's good. That's good.
Focus training will also give you an edge over your enemies. Dilate time and incapacitate their legs, or disarm them with the precision of a marksman. All of these skills might be trained between missions in Taxim, the department of Dr. Selena Tan.
Welcome to my dream factory.
Taxim will put your skills to the test through multiple
Okay, let's read these. Land of Rust, eliminate all the hostiles. So it's like a training ground to gain new abilities, but it's also like specific combat or like stealth challenges.
Types of challenges, each with its own specific rules that will pitch your performance against those of other agents from around the world.
With leaderboards, very Hitman.
New experience points, which you can spend on gadget upgrades, new firearms, and unique outfits to defeat enemies in style. And remember, at IO Interactive, the launch of a game is only the start. New content for Taxim will be created over time.
Faster, James. Faster.
So, keep an eye out for our updates, and get ready as new challenges lie ahead to put your 00 skills to the test. Finally, one last unwritten rule might be that an agent is never as good as when surrounded by allies, a team ready to give its all in the field, and companions to defend. But we're pretty sure you'll figure out this part yourself when the time comes. See you on May 27 to join the program and discover Bond's adventures in 007 First Light.
Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good to me. I will say they like even some of these shots. I think they're looking a lot sharper. They're running a lot better, and the tax sim also. I was wondering about this. And we asked them about it back when I went to the studio. What was that? August. I asked them like, do you have plans for like long-term challenges? Like, are you gonna do things for after you finish the main campaign? If people really love the gameplay, you know, in Hitman, you just go and you try a different solution to a mission. You just try to do something else, you know, some different route, and it offers endless replay. Because seriously, Hitman is crazy variable, and they were very coy. They didn't have any clear answers, but this seems to be what the solution is. That they are going to allow you to go into the tax sim whatever and actually like go and do either maybe assassination missions, maybe just combat challenges, stealth challenges, and they can add more and more of these as time goes by and have, as you can see, rewards. They had like intel reward was what it was. Yeah, intel reward is 100. Location Mauritania. There you go. And the challenge specifically is to eliminate all of the all of the hostiles in the area. Mission fails if a firefight breaks out. Enemies do more damage, and so there's actual game changer like stat effects that you can put on it to make everything easier or harder. Yeah, that sounds like exactly the kind of thing that IO would do, and it makes sense. I think that's a good fit. I think it's looking pretty solid, dude. The delay, I think, pretty clearly has been spent focused on polish and optimization, which is what it needed to be. I think a lot of people thought it looked really cool, like 007, which is basically Hitman mixed with Uncharted. I'm there for that. I'm into this. I just need it to run well. Like, I just hope it's not running at 15 frames a second, you know? And if they can get it running well and optimized, I'm here for it. I think it'd be really, really cool. Will this be on Game Pass? No, I don't think so. No. Yeah, I don't think so. Let's see. I left Hitman once. It became about replaying the same mission 50,000 times. Lost my immersion. I prefer story games. Well, and maybe that's where this will click with you more, is because it seems to offer a lot of the same complexity as Hitman, but it's not built on just, like you said, playing the same mission over and over again and trying that. You don't have to play Hitman that way. Some people do just play through a mission once, and once they complete it, they move on to the next one. But the point with Hitman is if you want to spend 1,000 hours in Hitman just trying crazy wacky solutions to different challenges, you can, and people do. It's a little outrageous how many different systems can be intertwined with each other to come up with unique solutions in that game, or those games, I guess. But I'm really, really interested in this. I'm cautiously optimistic. I am really hopeful because IOI, they are fantastic at what they do, and this seems like a match made in heaven to do a 007 game by the guys behind Hitman. Like, it's like literally of any developer you could possibly put on this, I think they're just about like the most perfect. So I'm thoroughly intrigued, and I hope that it is awesome. This looks cool. The delay seems to have actually been utilized and put to good use, and they're focusing on the right stuff to get it across the finish line, and now we have a little over a month to go. Hope there's a lot more driving. Probably. I don't think they would build out the cars and the driving system for just one sequence. So I would imagine there's a decent amount, maybe to tie missions together or something. I'm not sure. Kojima would have been better taking 007. Well, he would have renamed all the characters. So instead of whatever his name is, the science guy, it would be Science Screwdriver Man, and then you have to fight bad guy. As you can see, the bad guy wears a golden mask. Okay, right here. So we're gonna call him Gold Face Mullet Man. And nobody wears shoes. Nobody wears shoes. No shoes for immersion. And everyone's crying, randomly crying. Honestly, it would still probably be pretty good. Let's be real. It'd still be pretty good. I think it'd be very entertaining. Tell you what, I think it'd be very funny. And everybody only drinks Monster Energy. Yeah, instead of martinis. Can I have a Monster, please? Yeah. Blue Blast flavor, please. Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, I think it's looking really solid, and yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Rule number 1, be sure to blend in with your concept Aston Martin sports car. Dude, at my gym, we have a guy who comes and he's like an orthopedic surgeon. This man drives an Aston Martin. He just parks it on the street. Doesn't park it in the parking lot next to the poor people. But he parks his Aston Martin out there, and dude, he's a super sweet guy. You would see him, you would never guess he has more money than God, but he does. He's loaded. But apparently whenever there's a problem at the gym, like there's something breaks, treadmills break, or like the hot tub's having problems and breaks or something like that, he'll just be like, I just want it fixed sooner rather than later. Can I just pay you guys to fix it? And you just put my name on a plaque next to it. He's like, I just need you to like fix it. I don't want to do it at my house. I want to come here to do it. Can you just fix it? Like he's very chill. Apparently he's just like, just fix it, please. Like, how much is it going to be? 50 grand. Okay. Just put my name on a plaque. I don't care. Just fix it. Why is that guy similar to you? I could never be an orthopedic surgeon, dude. I could never. Yeah, it's specifically a spinal surgeon. I don't think I'd be able to do that. There was a time years and years ago, circa high school, where I was considering, I was like, do I lean into like business or do I lean into like going into medicine? Because I was kind of choosing between, do I want to go business? Do I want to like become a surgeon? And I went back and forth, and I was like, I couldn't get over the hurdle of needing to take on like $300,000 of student loan debt to become a surgeon, even though you'll make really good money on the back end. Giggity. I couldn't bring myself to do it. A buddy of mine, who was a roommate of mine, in college, he's still working on becoming a doctor. I mean, that was 5 going on 6 years ago. He's still in school. To become like whatever surgeon variant he's becoming. And he said back then that he was going to have over $500,000 in debt, which is crazy, just to get the degree. And I could never get over that hurdle. But like, I think it's because in my brain, I was already thinking like a finance person. And so I was like, oh, but then the interest rates are going to be here. And how am I going to that's going to be so much. And when you're trying to decide whether you want to become a doctor based on the money versus like how you're going to pay it off and stuff, I feel like that's the wrong reason to become a doctor. So at that point I was like, okay, maybe it's like not my temperament. If I'm thinking about it, I'm getting hung up on how expensive it's going to be to go to school to do it. Maybe that's just not that, because I think if you have that calling and you just want to help people and you have that medicinal calling, like cost be damned, you'll figure it out, become a doctor for the babes. The literal babes, like you're delivering babies, or for like something else, I'm not sure. Yeah, asparagus. Yo, what up, Luke? Greetings from Vegas. Greetings, my friend. Greetings. Yes. So let's shift forward to, what should we do? Okay, let's talk about this. New mini segment thing. So earlier in the stream, one of you guys was asking me, who do I think is like an up and coming studio who's somebody to keep an eye on? And I said Owlcat. Owlcat is a studio that is known for making like really hardcore niche RPGs, like Rogue Trader. Really, really good, phenomenally well written, massive, super complex. There's a lot of moving parts with it, right? However, they've not really broken into the mainstream yet. And that's why I said keep an eye on them, because they make fantastic games, but they haven't had that moment where they slip into the mainstream from the niche. They could be close to getting there, though. They just had a beta for their upcoming game, The Expanse: Osiris Reborn. The Expanse, of course, is from an established IP. It has name recognition from the show and from the books. And they just did a beta where a bunch of people got the chance to play it and try it. And some of the reactions to this beta have been like very, very positive. For example, like look at this one I bookmarked. Mr. Hulthen says the expanse of Cyrus Reborn feels like Mass Effect 2 all over again. Oh, that's not a small comparison. That's pretty significant, okay? Mortismal also had really positive feelings as well. Now, I don't want to go through their videos because they just launched like an hour and a half ago. So I don't want to step on their views or performance or anything. Usually after like 2-3 days, a video is pretty much set and established, but within a few hours, I don't want to potentially step on it. So instead, we're going to look at the Owlcat Games official beta mechanics overview to describe what is in the beta, how this actually worked, and show us what these people saw that left them feeling so positively.
Hello, my name is Leonid Rastarguev, and I'm the game design director on The Expanse of Cyrus Reborn.
I actually have had the chance to talk with Leonid a couple of times. I did an interview with him for New Game Plus, of course, which is the game reveal show that we did back in December. And really, really cool guy, very, very passionate about his work on this game and knows what he's talking about.
I'm Grigori Ponomaryov, lead game designer on the project.
We have finally reached a very important stage of the project and are ready to present you with the beta build. And first of all, we would like to thank our players who supported the game and helped us to reach this important stage.
So let's take a quick look at a few things to try once you jump into the beta.
During the beta, you will have a chance to play one story mission, Pinkwater Force Station, where you and your companions arrive right after Iris incident. There, at first, you will have some time to explore the station, chat with some NPCs, trade with local vendor Luciana, and even find some precious loot. And after that, you will have to report to your boss for a debrief.
As you level up, you unlock not only new combat abilities, but also new social skills for you and your companion. This unlocks additional skill checks during the mission. That means new dialogue options, new rewards during the exploration, and it can even change the outcome of important events.
And I cannot stress enough, like, this is not... I hate to bring up the comparison again. Who am I kidding? I love it. This is not Starfield writing. Owlcat, they are like really, really, really good at this. If you've never checked out like Rogue Trader or any, like literally anything Owlcat has touched, it is crazy. Like they know what they are doing. Okay. So when they say that there's going to be choice and consequence, when they say that this will unlock a new conversation option that changes the story in some way, they mean it. They mean it. They're very, very good at what they do.
Some of
if they're Scandinavian, you're probably good.
Those skill points will let you increase squad effectiveness, and others will let you increase firepower and gadget damage, and you will also be able to level up your companions and invest social skill points we mentioned before. At some point, you will encounter Workbench, which is an important part of the progression system. There, you can upgrade your weapons and equipment using the materials you collected during the exploration segment, and it's certainly worth doing before heading into combat.
Combat is built around using cover and reposition. Staying exposed usually won't end well for you, so switching between covers at the right moment is key to victory. You can also use active pause to quickly look around, select abilities, or issue commands to your squad mates.
Dude, squad commands are so underrated in these types of games. Like I know some people get annoyed by them, and so some people won't like this. I get that, but I think it's really, really nice to add a layer of complexity to the combat, because already like cover-based shooters are by themselves already a whole genre of games. Like that's something you can totally do by itself, and there's a lot of fantastic games that do that. But to add another layer of complexity with like specifically the tactical side of it, of being able to direct your party members to go to certain places, do certain things within the map, I think that's freaking sweet.
In the beta, you'll encounter 5 weapon categories, each suited for different ranges and situations. You can carry one rifle-sized weapon and one short weapon on your hip, so your loadout choices matter. Every weapon can be just as effective in combat. We don't treat them as main guns or sidearms.
And of course, don't forget about gadgets. Gadgets represent your combat abilities, and using them at the right time can create openings during the fight or disrupt your enemy ranks.
So reading this one, provides 1 magazine of specialized rounds that can electrify enemies. The more damage per second your weapon deals, the higher the chance to apply shock. Holding down the button that triggers this ability allows the character to remove the unemptied clip, reducing its cooldown. Damage type electric, cooldown 55 seconds. Projectile control, and then you can see that they allow you to equip gadgets to each of the like your character and the party member. Okay, shoulder gadget, program gadget, helmet gadget, lots of customization.
Right time can create openings during the fight or disrupt your enemy ranks. And you're not fighting alone. For this mission, Jay, your sibling, will join you as your companion, and you can order him to use his abilities or exploit particular environmental weaknesses to wreak havoc on the battlefield.
Ooh! I love microgravity combat. I think that's so cool. I think that's so cool. I think that's so cool.
Weaknesses to wreak havoc
Like, look
on
at
the
this. It blows up, and then they just delicately float into the sky.
battlefield.
Oh my god. It's in the earlier there was a shot. Okay, 249. Earlier there was a shot with blood effects, and I saw it, and initially I was like, oh, that looks kind of weird. But then I realized, like, no, like if you're in space or microgravity, of course the blood effect is gonna look different. Just naturally. Why can I not find this? Was it here?
Will let you increase squad effectiveness,
No.
and others will let you increase firepower and gadget damage, and you will also be able to level up your companions and invest social skill points we mentioned before.
I don't know, I'm stupid, I can't find it.
Particular environmental weaknesses to wreak havoc on the battlefield. During the beta, we really encourage you to experiment. Try different builds, try different playstyles, different dialogue options, and see how the game plays out.
Why does a single player game need a beta? I think you mean a beta. Good question, honestly. There's different philosophies with this. So it's kind of up to the developer and the community to decide, but on a very fundamental level, it's kind of like the early access that Larian did with Baldur's Gate 3. When you put things in front of players, they will let you know what they think, and they will provide feedback about things that maybe the dev team has become like resistant to or immune to. Because as everybody knows, when you work on something for a long time, you kind of start to get used to its current form, and you lose sight of things that might become obvious to fresh eyes. So like the dev team, for example, for me, when I look at the UI setup, I think like the static face down in the bottom left, I just think it looks weird. I don't really like it. But the dev team, I'm sure, is very used to that. And so they have just kind of tuned it out, and they don't see it anymore. And so they just don't realize that maybe that will hit people's eyes weird. His face is tired. Yes, exactly. And maybe, you know, that's on their dev list, that they're going to have it be animated and it's going to show status effects and stuff like that. So it'll actually be moving. And when you talk on your intercom or whatever, it'll actually be animated with lip sync and stuff. That could be cool. But just in this current form, I'm like, I don't really like that. The UI is also like very blocky and basic. I think it could use some flare up. You know, maybe shoving more of this stuff off to the side. I think it just takes up, I'm somebody, you guys know this about me. I like, the term is diegetic UI. I like UI that's not intrusive, and my ideal setup is when UI is integrated into the game itself. Dead Space is a fantastic example of this. In this case, it would be like, you know, if your health was like a bar on the back of the helmet or something, or in Dead Space, you know, it goes down the back and it indicates what your health is, or for your weapon, where maybe there's a light bar on the side and it drains as you're shooting just to let you know where you are, so you don't have to have the total ammunition listed there, you know, things like that, where you actually tie it into in the game. So so that you don't need this like big arbitrary thing. In games like this, I understand you can kind of hand wave it away, and it's like, well, it's like, you know, you have the heads up display in your visor, so your character is seeing that same stuff. I get that. Just as a player, I prefer less UI being in the way. I like to be just in the game. So for me, like my notes would be about the UI, scale it down, move things around a little bit, things like that. And those are things that often come up in betas and beta testing that the devs maybe just have gotten used to and they don't see it as a problem, you know? As a UI designer, I hate it when people say the UI needs to pop more. I don't know what it needs. It just needs to pop. It just needs more wow. Can you make it more wow? Do you have a wow slider you can just crank up? Is there like a slider to make it more pop or something? Help me.
He's out.
The beta will be available on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and Steam. Thank you for your feedback. It will help us improve the game.
And yet again, I would like to thank our players who supported the game and helped us to reach this stage. We're really looking forward to see your feedback.
And on a very fundamental level, it just gives them the chance to find out what you think about certain things that they may have grown used to. So they're not testing server infrastructure, for example. They're seeing, do you like how the combat works? Do we need to tweak something? Do you not like how to command your companions, you have to press this button and then this button? Should we swap it and do a different button combo? Things like that, you know, that they might just not see, or that they're so used to that they don't realize how disruptive it could be. And then the other obvious thing is that if your beta gets positive feedback and good word of mouth, it's a lot of free advertising. Like, they didn't really have to pay anything for it. They just got people to try the game. And when a lot of time with a lot of betas, when you do it, they can get you to like sign up for an email list. They can get you to sign up to wish list the game on Steam and stuff. So it also has marketing benefits too. But I think at the end of the day, it's a lot of work just for some emails. To me, it seems more likely the case that they just honestly are trying to collect feedback and see what people think of it. Now, this particular demo or beta is just a sliver of it. Okay, so it is, I believe, like, it's not a ton. It's like an hour of content or something like that. It's one main story mission and then talking to some NPCs. It is a sliver. It is a little bit. But again, the intention is for them to get some feedback and find out what people think of it. Based on the reactions I've seen from people who have tried the beta, it seems like it is primarily, the feedback is centered around like some animations are clunky when you're like running. There's some micro stutter and hitching when you're running through environments, things that are frankly normal in betas. It's very, very common to have those types of problems. And so a lot of those are things that they know about, I'm sure, and they're working to fix before the final launch. But the big picture stuff is what they want feedback on, so that if they can make adjustments to like UI, if they can make adjustments to control schemes and stuff to make it flow better, they want to know about that and be able to work on it. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. Closed beta. To access the beta, this is what they say in the description. To access the beta, you need to be a founder and own either the Miller's Pack or the Collector's Edition. More information here. So specifically for the beta, exclusive beta access. You can see they have it listed for these two tiers. Miller's Pack is the one at 80. Collector's Edition is 289. So it's also a way potentially to get some money flowing in to help them fund the final push of development. This also, let's just be perfectly honest, by locking the beta to the top tiers of pre-orders, it helps them guarantee that the feedback they're getting is from people that actually like are really into the idea of this game, that like the concept. You know, they're not going to get flooded with a lot of feedback from people being like, where's my spaceship? Why can I not fly? You know, they're getting feedback from people that understand what this game is and like it enough that they're going to pre-order it and happen to also provide feedback. So they're getting feedback from the most hardcore fans that have already pre-ordered it. which I think is also a strategy just to filter out some feedback that maybe they wouldn't find as valuable. If they're going to try to cater specifically to a certain group of players, it's the players that believe in the project so much that they've already pre-ordered it. Nothing's technically stopping you from pre-ordering, playing the demo or the beta, and then canceling your pre-order. I think you can do that if you really don't like the beta. So nothing's stopping you from doing that, but it is locked behind one of these two tiers, to be clear. So there you go. But I definitely think you gotta pay attention to Owlcat, man. They know what they're doing. They are they're real players. They're real players. They know what they're doing. Okay, let's do. This isn't really a whole segment. I just wanted to give another update in case you guys missed it. The staff at Mind's Eye Developer Build a Rocket Boy, the unionized developers, they are filing a lawsuit alleging that management put intrusive and invasive software, surveillance software, on their devices to spy on them and their communications, because again, the owners of the studio think that there's a grand conspiracy to make the studio fail. And so the claim is from the unionized employees that this was done. As you can see, they claim that management installed surveillance software called TerraMind onto their hardware and weren't transparent about what data it was storing. Union says that TerraMind software was removed from employee devices in March following a collective grievance against the company was signed by 40 employees. It's alleged, however, that management refuses to disclose what data was collected from the employees and how that data was stored, as well as the reason for its installation in the first place. TerraMind's official website says the AI-powered software, quote, enables proactive protection against insider threats, data breaches, productivity inefficiencies, and compliance challenges. And again, this comes in light of the CEO of the company saying that there was an organized espionage and corporate sabotage against the company. I would like to say I'm surprised, but I'm just not. I'm just not. Bear in mind, the CEO also said that he was imminently filing lawsuits against people for undermining it. His suggestion was that YouTubers and like journalists had been paid by someone, sort of suggesting it was Rockstar. They were paid by an agency hired by Rockstar or somebody else. And they were paid to the tune of like hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars to make negative videos about Mind's Eye. Which is insane. Like, can you even imagine? Like, Mind's Eye, I think, was an interesting concept. The game was just not ready. The game was rushed. The game was incomplete. The game was bad at many points. Like, it just was not there. This isn't like it was a 10 out of 10 masterpiece and the only reason it failed was because of this hit piece against it. Like, it's like actual delusion. Luke, what kind of watch did you buy with your Rockstar bribe money? Dude, I'm like, if Rockstar's offering money, for one, it's hilarious to think that Rockstar is threatened by Mind's Eye. But two, that they're like, oh no, it's going to step on the sales of GTA 6. Like, that's insane. But it's also crazy because it's like, guys, YouTubers make videos about games that are bad all the time without being paid by some agency to do it as a hit piece. If a game looks so bad, it basically turns into a dumpster fire that people just want to watch. It's like a car crash you can't turn away from. You know, was anybody paid to make videos, negative videos about the Gollum game? Was there a ploy from Sauron to bash the Gollum game? Like, no, it's just that it was so bad people found it fascinating. Like, how did this even happen? You know, they didn't need an outside payment. They just thought it was genuinely interesting. And that's the same thing like with Mind's Eye, was that it was a game that was just so bad that it absolutely captivated people's minds. Like, how does this even happen? And then this story keeps breaking and they keep doubling down on it. It just gets more and more insane. It's like actually delusional. Sauron is real. Nope. I didn't say that. I didn't suggest it. He's not real. He's part of the Mordor propaganda machine. A flock of YouTubers. Anyway, like I said, there's not really much to say about it. It's just another chapter in the story. Not even chapter, another page in the chapter of the insanity of Mind's Eye. It's just wild. But it goes to show you how there are some people that are just fascinatingly bizarre and on another planet. Like, it's like, I don't think we even populate the same universe. To honestly, again, just, I know it's hard to believe, but just put yourself in a mind's eye, a mind space where you genuinely think that Mind's Eye was actually really, really good. And the only reason it failed was because YouTubers were bought off by Rockstar. Like, that is some level of delusion that is like actually scary and actually concerns me, that like you're in another realm, you know? Some people are out of their minds. Well, and then they surround themselves with other people that encourage their delusions. And I think that's part of the problem, because there's a lot of people who are obviously on the outside laughing at it, being like, what are you talking about? Like, clearly, this isn't the case. But they're just surrounded by people who are like, no, I think that is the case. It's not that I'm bad at my job. No. It's that it's a conspiracy. You know, it's just crazy. It's insane. Oh, excuse me. It's like those flat earthers. Yeah, dude, the flat earth thing is crazy. Thank you for the super chat. Just a second. I'll get there in a second. The flat earth thing is like actually ridiculous though, because I think what makes me sad about the flat earth dudes is that for a lot of those people, you can tell they aren't the sharpest tool in the shed. And I think they've always felt maybe some inadequacy because in school they struggled with math and sciences and stuff. And so all their life they've felt this pressure and this like inferiority because they couldn't cognitively crack, you know, algebra or the sciences or whatever, which is fine. Lots of people struggle with those. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. But what happens with these flat earth types that buy into that is that they see some TikTok or YouTube video that all of a sudden gives them a reason to believe that it wasn't that they actually were bad at math. It wasn't that they were just stupid. They are actually too smart for it. They're actually so brilliant that they saw through it. They saw through it the whole time. Yeah, they couldn't figure out trigonometry, not because trigonometry is too difficult for them. No. It's because they're too smart for it. They saw through the simulation. Yeah, and so it gives them an excuse to all of a sudden, now they aren't beneath in their own mind. They're not beneath the mathematicians, the physicists, the scientists. They're above them. They escape the matrix. Exactly. They have this privileged knowledge that makes them special. And I think that's why you also see them absolutely lose their minds when you call them out for it, because they tie a lot of their personality into it, which is what's so fascinating. If you haven't seen it, there's a YouTuber, Professor Dave Explains. He does amazing videos, debunks science tutorials and stuff. But he's also done a lot of takedowns of like flat earthers, which are thoroughly entertaining. Let me see if I can find a little snippet in here with one of the flat earthers.
Doesn't make sense, and they didn't think
So
about
this is the flat earther. This is the flat earther. This is Professor Dave. These are the hosts of the podcast.
What doesn't make sense? What doesn't make sense about an Earth orbiting a sun? What
No.
going that
No, you
doesn't
didn't
make
hear me.
sense?
Dave,
Isn't
Dave,
an argument.
Dave, stop being a dick. Listen to what I said.
You stop being a dick.
The Eratosthenes believed that the Earth was geocentric, that the sun orbited us, but the sun was a distant sun. How does a distant, gigantic sun orbit a minuscule speck Earth?
Well,
Okay? Yeah, you have no answer for that.
They don't know.
Yeah.
It's the ancient Greeks. They didn't know. Now we know, right? We figured out heliocentrism in like the 16th century.
His
So it was
story
like
makes
500 years ago. It's a pretty long time.
His story
But you see, like, they attach a lot of their personality to this belief system. And so when it starts to fall apart, they just don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do. And it's wild. Dude, is my YouTube account age restricted all of a sudden? Why does this keep happening today? It keeps flagging it inappropriate for some users. Am I on like safe browsing mode or something? How does that even happen? No, restricted mode is off. I don't understand why it's giving me. Is it the ad blocker? Is that what it is? Oh, now I can press the button.
Hey everyone, many of you saw my recent reaction video where I drank whiskey while laughing at a rapping flat earther named Lord Jamar, who was proudly demonstrating his unparalleled stupidity on the podcast of a comedian named Godfrey. Well, that reaction video set off a chain of events that I'm very excited to share with you today, so grab some popcorn and enjoy. If you recall, Godfrey was the host, Lord Jamar was a guest, and then there was this third fellow. His name is Dante Nero.
I didn't realize this guy, Lord Jamar, he's been dissed by Eminem. Because he said that white people shouldn't be allowed to make rap music. And so Eminem dissed him and like kind of humiliated him. And it turns out he's also a flat earther.
And after I posted my reaction video, he reached out to me by email. He told me that he's a big fan of the channel and that the episode I reacted to was frustrating for him because he knew that Jamar had no idea what he was talking about, but he didn't have the tools necessary to combat his script in real time. He expressed interest in having me on Godfrey's show via Zoom to have a conversation with Lord Jamar. Now, upon hearing this request, I was immediately aware that if I agreed to do that, it would be a total shit show. I am intimately familiar with people like Lord Jamar. He's a delusional narcissist and complete douchebag whose entire identity revolves around his perceived intellectual superiority over the rest of humanity, despite being a willfully ignorant, clueless asshat. Basically, he's a flat earther. He is 100% impervious to even the most basic facts and logic, and he will not listen to a word I have to say, no matter how obviously correct I am. But when has that ever stopped me before? So I agreed to go on the show. Now, I will say that I went into this with the intention of remaining relatively cordial as long as possible, but Jamar began insulting me before I was even introduced, so I decided to just lace into him from the first moment. Even though my volume was dramatically lower than theirs, even though he was talking over me constantly, even though there was barely any attempt by Godfrey to moderate him so that I could get equal speaking time, I still took a big steamy dump all over him and made him look dumber than rocks in front of his own audience. So much so, in fact, that after less than 20 minutes of interacting, Jamar threatened to leave the studio if I wasn't cut out of the feed. And then, mere minutes after the live stream was posted to Godfrey's channel, it was pulled. Undoubtedly because Jamar told Godfrey to pull it, since he knew how unbelievably stupid he looked. But, my friends, you'd better believe I anticipated exactly this, so I recorded the Zoom session from my end.
Smart.
I knew that this exchange was going to be absolute gold, and I was not disappointed. With that context covered, enjoy this brief interaction with one of the dumbest people alive.
There's not fire in a vacuum of space.
It's been shown that challenging a person's worldview activates the same parts of the brain as being physically attacked. Well, yeah, it's like it shakes your very foundation. And I think what makes it even more exaggerated with a lot of this is that it's not just worldview, but it's like people who buy into like the flat earth stuff, it's isolating because who wants to like have a flat earther over for dinner? Who wants to like go grab a drink with a flat earther? Like nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody wants to like have that guy at the bar who's like, talking and trying to evangelize about flat Earth very openly, because that's what they do, is they talk very openly about it. Goes on a podcast about, I don't know what they talk about generally on the podcast, but it seems like they talk about music and pop culture and stuff. And he starts rambling about flat Earth. It's like, I think because it's so isolating, they lose all their friends. A lot of their family stops talking to them. And so like this ends up being all they have. It's all they have.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
It's ridiculous.
Like, and before we bring Professor Dave, here's my thing. Man, let me fuck Professor Dave. Before he even get here. You know why? When it comes to hip hop, right? There's questions I have to ask because he spent his life studying being a part of hip hop. To take the people that have spent their lifetime understanding physics, science, all kinds of things.
Don't matter.
It is absurd. It would be the equivalency if
I'll skip ahead to when he gets really heated.
Bro.
You asked the question. Go ahead. Do what you're gonna do.
He's trying to be friends, but come on, man. Because you have to have a covering. People will say that the covering is the ozone layer or the thermosphere. These are basically imaginary coverings to say the same thing that somebody would say is a firmament. But go ahead. Tell me why you have pressurized air next to a vacuum of space, sir.
Okay, so so this is really adorable. You think that space is a vacuum cleaner because you don't know what a vacuum is? You don't know what vacuum means. What's a vacuum? What does vacuum mean? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. What the fuck does a vacuum
It has
mean?
no air. It's,
It's an absence of matter. So why the fuck would the vacuum of space pull air anywhere? Can you explain that?
A vacuum also pulls things, sir.
No, it doesn't. Vacuums don't suck. That's not a thing.
If vacuum is
so you don't know what a vacuum is.
Dave, a vacuum
Like
is...
it gets so uncomfortable because like it literally is that he's thinking of a vacuum cleaner and that's what he thinks space is. He thinks space is a vacuum cleaner.
is the absence of matter, right?
Yeah. So why would that pull air anywhere?
So we just have absence of matter next to pressurized air.
Yes, which sticks to the Earth because of gravity, which again you pretend doesn't exist.
Which sticks to the Earth, so it's spinning with the Earth.
I have the definition.
At 1,000 miles an hour.
Okay, so
I have the definition.
We're really jump into all the favorite talking points. So the Earth spins once per day.
Bro.
That's what a fucking day is. Did you know that? Do you know what a day means? It's how long it takes the Earth to spin around.
He's telling him to kick
one time.
Dave off.
So all of this 1,000 miles an hour bullshit just makes you sound like an idiot because it spins once a day. It spins at half the rate of the hour hand on a clock. Not so fast, is it?
Well,
pretty funny shit, huh?
Yeah, really funny.
Yeah. Any response?
Yeah. You're full of shit.
It's just it gets sad at some point because like the talking points run out of steam and then it's just like you're a mean stupid doo-doo head and I don't like you and it gets sad. It gets really sad. But I think that is like the same level of willful delusion that it takes to go and do that same mind's eye stuff where like you're like literally buying into something that is not a part of this reality. But it's because it's more comfortable than the reality of the situation, which I get it. The impending insanity of the reality of space and how vast it is and how vast, not just the galaxy, but the universe is, that's haunting. It's like honestly kind of scary. The fact that there's so much that we can't know, that we will never know. There's things that no matter how smart you are, there's always going to be somebody smarter than you that has a stronger grasp of mathematics or of physics or whatever. That is overwhelming. I get that. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that it's fake. And in the same case as like the mind's eye stuff, it's a tough reality to confront that this thing you worked on for years and years and years was just not very good. I get that. That is a hard thing to come to terms with. But that's what you have to come to terms with. Lots of people who work on stuff for years have to deal with that struggle, whether it's a movie they work on or a book or a novel or something in their professional career. They work for years and it just doesn't work out. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. But you have to accept that reality. You don't get to just stick your head in the sand and scream, la, 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 I reject your reality. I'm using my own instead. Doesn't work that way. What's the name of the video? It's all of these Professor Dave on, you can just look up Professor Dave Flat Earth. He does debunks of all of it. The Flat Earth guys have been crashing out also over the Artemis missions as well. So like these flat earthers literally think that the spaceships and like the ISS is actually hot air balloons or balloons filled with helium. They think satellites are balloons. And so it's like crazy. But if you want to see those, again, these videos are fantastic. You should absolutely go watch them and subscribe and all of that. He's one of my favorite YouTubers I watch on my personal accounts and stuff. Really good. Really good. True wisdom is knowing nothing. Yeah. I don't know how we got here, but I'm absolutely here for it. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. It's what it is at the end of the day. And this is like a well-known phenomenon, especially in America. But there's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is this graph basically. And this is like how much you know. Okay. So this is your actual experience and knowledge. Okay, we'll just call that XP. Okay. And then this is your confidence. Okay. How confident you feel about the thing you're talking about. And what happens a lot is that people will start studying something like game development, programming, history, sciences, whatever. They'll start, and within like a year of study or couple of years of study, they will feel like I'm an expert. But then something happens and you realize how little you actually know. And you go into the pit of, oh my God, I know a lot. There is so much I don't know. And then years and years and years of more study, you can eventually reach the other end of this. And this is basically what's happening when you hear a discussion between a flat earther, or as they sometimes call them, flurfs, and like an astrophysicist. Okay, like they think that they are actually an expert when in reality, they actually have no idea what they're doing. And the same exact thing happens with like people that think they watch one YouTube video and they think they know how the world economy works. They watch one crypto bro talk about buying Bitcoin and shorting it, and then they think they're an expert and they lose all their money. Like this happens all over the place. But it's a well-known phenomenon. But anyway, yeah, I don't know how we... Oh, it was mind-sized stuff. That's what it was. So anyway, there you go. Luke's diatribe about flat earth. Where are you at the graph for finance stuff? I would put myself in like the bottom of that valley. I am well aware that there is so much that I do not know about finance, about financial markets, about I mean, the one thing that has always fried my brain whenever I've tried to study it is like Forex trading and manipulation of like foreign currencies for sake of trading. Because swap spreads are like a well-known thing where you can make a lot of money basically for, I swear, after this we'll talk about GTA 6. For years and years and years, Japan basically had 0% interest rates, right? For everything. So what would people do? They would borrow in Japanese yen, and then they would buy stocks or options and different things, different financial instruments using borrowed yen converted to USD. But then Japan raised interest rates and it shifted everything. Everything broke apart because basically the world economy was built on using Japanese currency to do this quick swap for low interest rates for cheap, easy borrowing, you know. But that's always been one of those markets, because people will do it with like the peso, they'll do it with it's still the yen, but they'll do it with all sorts of different currencies, and it just has always given me a headache. Like, it always just gives me a massive headache. Anyway, let's do this real quick. News segment. All right, guys, it's time once more. We just a few minutes ago talked about Mind's Eye and how apparently Rockstar was behind the sabotaging of that game, allegedly, hypothetically, which is of course insane, but that got my gears turning. I want to look at some GTA 6 stuff. It's time. It's been a week or two. It's time we look at a little something. Now, there's a YouTuber that's done a lot of coverage of GTA 6. We've looked at, I think one of his videos before, has done a lot of really, really good stuff. And analyses of trailers and different things. But today, I wanted to look at specifically a deep dive that he did on some of the individual screenshots and pictures that Rockstar has shared, because this is something that actually not a lot of people know about, which is very, very interesting. People have seen the trailers, of course, but Rockstar also shared a huge suite of screen caps through their website. And a lot of these have not actually broken out into the gaming mainstream, because mostly people watch the trailer and that's where they leave it. But there's a lot more footage and info if you go into these screenshots and start digging into them, because a lot of these screenshots and snippets on their website were not presented in the trailer. So there's a lot of unique information in there that is potentially valuable for figuring out what the game is, how it works, the secondary cast of characters, all of this stuff. So I figured let's check it out. So this YouTuber, again, is named Jetro, does fantastic work. I've not watched this yet, but it was highly recommended. So let's see what he found. 50 hidden details in GTA 6 screenshots.
We've already went over the trailer, so this time we're diving into some of the hidden details in the screenshots and info that Rockstar released on their website as well. So, without further ado, let's begin.
Bring it on.
We'll start off with Jason's screenshots and work our way down the page that way. And to be honest, there wasn't much going on for Jason. Now, obviously, a lot of people have already touched on the...
I love that shirt. I kind of want that shirt.
John the Tank donated $20 through Super Chat. Hey Luke, I feel like there's two sides to the excitement for Lego Batman. One side is the Lego game fans, and the other side is interested in the case study of Warner Brothers' Rocksteady failure with GK and SS.
No, I think that's a good point. There's a lot of disenfranchised Arkham fans out there who have had to wait at this point over a decade for another game in that same format, basically. And they certainly did not get it with Suicide Squad. They didn't really get it with Gotham Knights either. And so they've just been waiting. And what's so bizarre is that it's coming in the form of a Lego game, which is crazy. But no, I think you're probably right that is a big part. It's a big component of it, is people that like Lego games and think that those look good, but also the added layer that there's a lot of Gotham fans, or Arkham fans rather, that have been left in the cold for a decade, you know. And that's kind of where I'm at, is that do I love Lego games? I don't like a lot of recent Lego games. They're too collectathon-y. Like the Skywalker Saga was cool and fun and whatever, but like they were too busy work filled. But this Batman, like Lego Batman game, looks freaking fantastic. I am so in for it. So yeah, I think you raised a good point. I think that's absolutely the case. Sharpsy says, how do we know you're not a balloon? It's a great point. They did ask, or they did look up, NASA is one of the world's largest buyers of helium, which is of course because they use helium in like the manufacturing and production of like literal rocket fuel, and like they need it. But the flat earthers use that as an excuse that they're using it to fill up balloons. Like they literally think that they are building gigantic like foil rocket ship shaped balloons and filling them with helium and using that for the rocket ships. Like it's crazy. Anyway, I was actually just about to read it, my friend. You didn't have to send another super chat. It's nice of you, Daisuke, but I was just about to read it. I swear to God. Yes, right before we got to this, Daisuke, I'm going to try to read it. Daisuke Yamamoto. I tried my best, my friend. I'm sorry. With a $10 super chat, very generous. Thank you. Random question: how come you've never talked about Wayward Realms? It's the upcoming spiritual successor to Daggerfall, made from the half of Bethesda that thought the procedural generation was the way for the Elder Scrolls 3. So Wayward Realms, we've actually talked about it a couple of times. It comes up every once in a while. People will mention it and be like, "Oh, what do you think of this? Should we check it out?" Of course, it's in production. They're working on it, but yeah, I think it looks very intriguing. I don't know a ton about it, but yeah, I think it looks very, very intriguing and interesting. So I would like to stay up on it. Absolutely. Let's see. Holy Caucasian Luke. I can't read anything that's not written in freedom letters. I struggle with sounds that don't come off of a McDonald's menu. Still Danny, thank you for the 5. With the Bloodborne movie coming out, do you think the traction it gets could influence Sony and FromSoft into doing a PC port or even a new game? Well, the recent reporting was not that they don't want to do it. It was that From Software did not give their blessing. So I think literally it's just, it sits on their table. Like that's just where it is. Like I think that it's not that they don't want to do it. They know it will print money. It's just simply that From Software, for whatever reason, doesn't want it done. Maybe they'll do it themselves eventually. Maybe they'll get to it. Or maybe it's just that Hidetaka doesn't want to mess with what he considers to be one of his best games, and he just wants to leave it there. Which at the end of the day, I can kind of respect that. You know, people got upset when George Lucas went and started tweaking and messing with his previous movies. I don't think we're asking for that. We're asking for like a 60 FPS patch or with like a graphical update or something. But if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't want to do it. And it seems like that is what it is. He just doesn't want to do it. Warfox Gaming, thank you for the $5 super sticker. How's it going? It's going well, my friend. Much love. Much love, my friend. Thank you. Let's see. I read that one. Okay, I think we're caught up. Thank you guys for the patience. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Circling back. Here we are. The first screenshot, fishing, again, implies there's like full-on fishing mechanics. One thing we do know is that Rockstar has been fairly straightforward in that they have brought over the wildlife mechanics and the hunting mechanics that they built for Red Dead 2. So all of the animal simulation, all of the hunting, fishing, and stuff like that, I expect to be in GTA 6 as well.
Fishing that we saw in one of his screenshots, but in some of the other screenshots we saw a few other activities as well. We have pool, fishing, kayaking, mini putt, basketball, tennis, and
I'm guessing mini putt is the technical term. I always called it mini golf. I freaking love mini golf, dude.
Pool, fishing, kayaking, mini putt.
It feels weird to call it mini putt though. I'm gonna be real. I'm so here for it though, dude. If we ever do a meet and greet, you better believe I'm doing it at a mini golf place. I think that'd be so fun. It's like, yeah, we're all gonna play mini golf. My wife freaking hates mini golf, which is hilarious to me. How do you hate mini golf? It's like hating cotton candy. Like, how do you hate that? It's the best thing ever. But she hates it. She hates it. She cannot stand it. It's a cruel trick of fate that I marry someone who hates mini putt, as he says it. But yeah, she cannot stand it.
Basketball, tennis, and scuba diving.
Hell yeah.
There is also a possibility of metal detecting as an activity as well, as seen in this screenshot, but to be honest, I'm not too sure how that would work, so I'm not going to speculate on it.
I also think that if the metal detecting was a mechanic, we would have found out by now, with especially the leaks from 2022. I think we would have seen slivers of it. I've heard nothing about it. I'm guessing it's just an object that some NPCs can spawn with and they can walk with. I doubt you'll be able to pick it up. Maybe it's like tied to a main story mission and that's how they put it in the game, where somebody drops something and then you go and find it in the sand. Maybe that's how they do it. I don't know. Mini golf is better than golf. I'm better at mini golf. To tell you that right now. I like golf. I like golf a lot. But yeah, that is also one of those games where you realize how good the best players are, and it's not even funny, dude. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how good like Rory is. Like, dude, they change the angle within like a degree of how they angle the club for certain hits based on how wet the turf is that they're hitting on and how wet the turf is where it's landing. Like, it's ridiculous. It's insane.
Lucia's screenshots didn't show us too much either, but there was one thing I noticed that seemed very important. Lucia is wearing her necklace in every single screenshot they posted of her. All of them except for one, where she...
Dude, how have I never noticed that necklace before? It's like a little boxing glove, which they have screenshots of her boxing and fighting, but I've never noticed that necklace before. How did I not notice that? It's like a very unique, very weird necklace to have a boxing glove in gold.
In every single screenshot they posted of her. All of them except for one, where she is clearly terrified while running away from the cops. The only conclusion I have is that perhaps this is the instance where she is taken to prison. My main reason for thinking this is because she also isn't wearing her necklace when she is released from prison in trailer 2, despite them giving her belongings back. Rockstar made a point to clearly show her necklace being worn all the time, even when fighting, but the one time that she is clearly in a dire situation, she doesn't have it on. But also, one side note that I wanted to bring up from something I mentioned in my last video was that on Lucia's motorcycle, there is a Gloriana license plate, which I said was Georgia. And this only makes sense because of Mount Caliga. Now, for those who aren't aware, Georgia is the closest state to Florida that has a mountain range, as Florida doesn't really have any of their own. So, Georgia being added as a small-scale state is the most likely scenario if they wanted to add a mountain range. Now we're moving on to...
I'm guessing that they're just going to kind of squish Georgia down onto the top of the map. The current mapping project guesses that there's no panhandle, so that they're not going to have that. So I'm guessing that they're going to have mountainous areas from up north, and they probably will have an arbitrary state line to justify that. But yeah, they'll do whatever they want. I mean, it's fictional and they can tweak it however they need to.
The Vice City shots, and there were a few notable things that caught my attention here. First and foremost is this picture, because there is a lot going on. For one, we already mentioned basketball and tennis, which you can see off to the left. Two is this scene.
Is that?
We already mentioned basketball and tennis.
It looks like the same guy. I forget his name. The same guy from come on. It looks like him, doesn't it? Or am I being judgmental that I think an overweight white dude in Florida looks like every other overweight white dude in Florida? That looks like it could be Cal, it could be Jason, and maybe Lucia. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Which you can see off to the left.
Queso.
Two is this scene down at the bottom with this NPC getting arrested. There is another screenshot that depicts an arrest up close, as well as one we passed by in the trailer. So undoubtedly this means that NPCs will most likely cause crime just as much as we do in this game. But a very interesting part of this screenshot is right here.
Well, and that begs the question, like, if NPCs can commit crimes, can you bail them out? Like, go and fight the police officers to let that guy get away? Does that have any sort of impact? Is it like in Red Dead 2 when you release prisoners and stuff in transport? You know, how does that work? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Have you seen the Lantern of the Laughless Saint trailer? Looks fun. I have not. I will pull that up in another tab though. I'll pull that up. Snowy, thank you for the 5 as well. Hey Luke, since you mentioned The Last of Us Part 2, what did you think of it? It's my favorite game of all time. Hot takes. Abby's story makes her my favorite character. I think like The Last of Us Part 2 is a technological and like gameplay masterpiece. I think that the story, even if you like what they were trying to do with it narratively and thematically, I think that story would have been much more effective if told with a new cast of characters. Like, I think choosing to tell that story with Ellie and Joel just emotionally charged it like too much, to the point where now, instead of people appreciating the game for what it was trying to do, it's just become such a hotbed of drama and dispute. So I think I really appreciate the game, and I think that it's really, really phenomenal in many, many ways, especially like the NPC AI, the stealth systems and everything. It's so good. So good. But I think the story could have been much better executed.
After trailer 2, Rockstar released a statement saying that the trailer was captured completely with in-game footage, and I think we can see that best in action here.
Yeah.
Notice how the ray tracing on the water gets slowly less reflective the further away it is from the player. If this wasn't in-game footage, Rockstar could have easily rendered this in a way to make the entire amount of water reflective. But as a way to accurately reflect the game, they decided to leave it exactly how you will probably see it once we're playing the game. Also, in this shot, we see that Vice City Beach Police are promoting their social media. I said in my deep dive video on the iFruit app that I think social media will play a massive role in this game given how widespread it is in 2025. Judging from the fact that even the police are advertising this on their cars, I'm assuming that's a pretty accurate prediction. And
I'm guessing there's going to be like another phone system. I think it's going to have its own social media. There's rumors that they had crypto at one point in development as a mechanic and system in the game. Recent rumors have suggested maybe that was removed and it's not going to be present, or at least a focus in the game, which might be the right bet. Like, you got to remember, they've been working on this game so long. Like, this game started development and was really in full development before even like the NFT craze. You know, so even in the middle of development, they would have run into like the NFT craze, and they could have put NFT stuff in here, but already that would feel out of date. You know, already if they have NFT stuff in here, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember NFTs. That's got to be the most difficult thing. Okay, maybe not the most. A very difficult thing building a game like GTA 6, which is so massive and is meant to be like a commentary on especially American culture and pop culture, because things move so fast. It moves so fast. It's insane.
Quickly, I also want to bring up Pearl. Now, Pearl is a location in Vice City that seems somewhat of a main location, since for one, Pearl can be seen written on the pillars underneath this bridge, and Pearl is also tattooed on this dude from another screenshot. This may have something to do with the Haitian gangs that we saw from the leaks, but I'm entirely speculating on that. Honestly, there wasn't too much extra I could find in Booby's screenshots either, but there was one thing
The character's name is Booby, just in case you're wondering what he's talking about when he says Booby's screenshots. It's because it's that's the character. Did they have him listed here? They might. Yeah. Booby Ike. Booby. Booby is a local Vice City legend and acts like one of the few to transform his time in the streets into a legitimate empire spanning real estate, strip club, and a recording studio. Booby's all smiles until it's time to talk business. Isn't that true of all boobies, though? All smiles. All smiles.
I thought was pretty cool, and that's the switch on his Glock. Back in GTA 5, we had things like the AP pistol, which were full auto, but now it seems like, at least with this gun, we could be able to switch between full auto and semi-automatic. And if we can do that for one gun, it would make sense that we could probably do it on a lot of the ARs as well. Now we get to where Jason calls home, the keys. First, I just really want to appreciate how insanely massive this map is going to be. I mean, as far as the eye can see, you can find hydro towers that are barely in render distance. But now, the key things that I want to bring...
Yeah, to be clear, like... So this, of course, is the main city, but it's expected that that's the radio tower that's seen elsewhere. So the prison is way off over there. It's expected that there's hilly mountains and stuff just off to the left of this. And I mean, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge. Watch the clip we did on the mapping project, the GTA 6 mapping project, and you'll be blown away at just what they've estimated in terms of overall map size. Like, it's huge.
This map is going to be. I mean, as far as the eye can see, you
Too
can
much
find
water.
hydro towers that
Too much cheese.
are barely in render distance. But now, the key things that I want to bring up here are, first, notice how many different boats are in this picture. It looks like these two yachts are the exact same, but beyond that, there are 10 different types of boats in this one picture, alluding to just how many different vehicles are going to be in this game.
If you've ever been to Florida, yeah, dude. I mean, it's crazy. The variety that you'll see in the harbors and in the bays. We went deep sea fishing when we were in Tampa, and we were in Tampa Bay. And what was wild was we got on the boat in like the eastern side of the bay, and we had to drive kind of clockwise around the bay to get out into the ocean to go deep sea fishing. And that took us like 45 minutes just to drive the boat at like max speed to get to the bridge that connected the two. Like, it was crazy how massive it was. And every step of the way, there's somebody's house with its own boat or boats. And it's just crazy. They put a lot into it. I mean, to make it feel like Florida, you got to put a lot into it.
Also, one small note, and this is purely speculative right now, but one of these boats has a decal for Whirlpool Insurance, which could be hinting at the name for the new Mars Mutual from GTA 5. Now, we also have this lady carrying some food from a fast food place called Marbles. In the leaks, we learned that food and drinks were separate items from health and trauma kits, so it could be that unlike GTA 5, they have separate uses. Sort of like how GTA RP has both a food and drink meter as well as a standard health bar. Now moving on to Dre.
Which could be cool. I will also say that this is like the most Florida screenshot probably of them all. The lady with a tied up shirt who's in a mobility scooter because she doesn't want to walk, driving it to get fast food, and then driving it down a busy city street. It's very Florida. And I like Florida. And I'm just being real. It's very accurate.
Once again, not much stood out in his screenshots. We know he works with Booby a lot, and he has his own record label where he signed the Real Dimes, and he loves the Vice City Manatees. But beyond that, not much else stands out in his screenshots. The wetlands, however, have a fair amount to dive into. For instance, with this shot, there is a whole bunch to unpack.
Bro, they have a trailer full of alligators. And are those beavers? What are those? What are those?
With the obvious.
Call me asparagus. What are those?
Of course, these otter-looking things. But in all realness,
what
I find most intriguing about this picture.
I don't think those are otters. Beavers? They look like beavers to me. They look like beavers, but do beavers live in the swamps? I didn't think they lived in the swamps. A capybara? Okay, that would make sense. Okay.
Is the fact that this truck is actually getting away from the cops in a swampy marsh. In GTA 5, it didn't matter what car you were in, really. If you started driving in water, your car was...
Dude, just take a moment and look at this. Like, GTA 5 is a game from 2013, and it's received updates, next-gen updates and stuff, so it's received some overhauls. But, like, just take a minute to appreciate the graphical leap. It's not even a leap. It's like a graphical flight. Like, they're just on another planet.
Basically useless. However, now it seems that off-road cars will actually do what they are meant to, which is drive off-road. In some of the other shots, we got another look at some new weaponry in GTA 6, which is the double-barrel shotgun, as well as a wide selection of rifles in the game, most likely because of how prevalent hunting seems to be. We can also see a water tower that says Watson Bay, giving name to the wetlands. Oh, and also her tattoo says masturbator. I mean, how could I not bring that up? Once again, just like
Somebody was like, why watch these detail videos? That's why. You didn't know that before, did you? That one of the NPCs has a tattoo on her chest that says masturbator. You didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's why we watch these. To learn and to grow together.
we don't really know a whole bunch about the real dimes, and their shots didn't give us much either. So instead, let's take a better look at Port Gellhorn, a named location that we've known about since the 2022 leaks. Port Gellhorn to me looks a lot like what Sandy Shores might look like in GTA 6. You got impromptu hangouts, lots of drug dealing and producing, rundown places with little infrastructure. It's just kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this area. In one of the shots in particular, we can actually see a person getting kicked out of the strip club, probably on some funny business, but what caught my eye even more is the Imponte Phoenix making a return from GTA 5. And actually, speaking of vehicles, we can see a regular truck with a huge lift kit that implies even more insane vehicle customization like we saw in trailer 1 and 2. Moving on from there is where we get introduced to Raul. And although we don't think we saw any of him in the trailer, we do know that he was there for some parts. For example, in the short GIF of his, we can clearly see that Raul is wearing the same mask that Lucia and Jason were wearing during the SNB bank heist, meaning he was definitely there despite us not seeing what his role was during it. A few small details I noticed as well was the red dot sight on his pistol, and as well as this. On his pistol, it says CAPD. Now this could either mean two things. One is that CAPD is the abbreviation of capped, and that's the brand name of the gun in the game, or CAPD as in something something police department. Now I think it's fair to say that based off everything we know about him, he isn't with the police in any way, but there was a theory from trailer 2 that says that the main cop we see was Raul. But that is probably something we won't figure out till later.
I will mention, I did see this comment pinned. It might also say capo, which means boss in Italian and Spanish. It could be some kind of customization Raul did to his pistol. So it could also be that.
Also, a lot of people have already brought this up already, so I won't touch on it too long. But the dash on the car looks to have a ton of different uses. Music, navigation, calling, and some other apps we can't quite make out. We do know from the leaks that Rockstar has made a system where you can play without a minimap, and I do think that these cars will play some sort of factor to that. Now let's look at Ambrosia.
That's kind of cool. Instead of a minimap, if you're playing in like first person while driving, it actually pulls up on the dash or like on the center console computer. It shows the navigation. That's cool.
Once again, this picture puts into perspective the map size, just from the other side than we looked at before. Because if you zoom in far enough, you can actually see just how far away the city is from here. Now, on this biker, we can see that he's wearing a hat that says Liberty City Cycles. And now this is intriguing because it's not even close to the only time that Liberty City has been mentioned. We obviously learned that Lucia was originally from Liberty City, as well as a Liberty City license plate that has also been found. So this now makes a few times that Liberty City has been mentioned in the lead up to the game. However, even with that, I am not gonna speculate on if there's bigger meaning behind this, because I doubt it will ever be possible to go there. But I'm also not completely ruling it out either. But now, one of the coolest things that I found that I have not seen a lot of people bring up yet, if you look at the bottom of this picture, you can clearly see a third pedal, which makes this very clearly a manual car. Whether or not Rockstar actually adds a mechanic that would make some cars manuals, we don't know, but GTA RP did have a similar system in some of their servers, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. It would also be a very easy way for Rockstar to make the driving harder for people who complained about GTA 5's being too easy. Here we can also see a better view of what those dash controls.
I'm guessing it's probably just visual, and like Jason will shift gears. I'm guessing it's not a gameplay mechanic. If it is, cool, but I'm guessing it's probably just visual. That'd be my guess. Yeah, like a shift animation. Yeah, it's like, because there's been plenty of other games where it's like, you know, a manual car, but like the OG Mafia games, like you're driving a manual transmission, of course, but they're not making you go and like press this for the clutch and then press this to move this and then use the right stick to do that. Like it just does it for you. Yeah, it would make shooting very difficult. I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't be in every vehicle. So maybe it's like just collector's vehicles or something. That would work. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if it's like a full-on system. Maybe a setting. Oh, that could be interesting. Like a difficulty spike, or you can toggle the higher difficulty for driving. That could be cool.
On the car look like as well. This dash looks almost exactly like the one that we saw in Raul's car, and that will probably be standard throughout all vehicles, but that would also mean that it's more likely to have an actual function in every car. Okay, so Brian we already know a ton about from the trailer, so I won't spend too much time on him, except for this shot. In my trailer 2 video, I talked about how Jason and Brian must have a bigger connection than just business partners, given that Jason says,
"See you, Brian. Love you, Jason."
And that is reinforced with this picture. Not only is he close with Brian, but Jason also seems to be close with his third wife, Lori, as well. What their relationship is to each other probably won't get revealed until the game actually comes out, though. And finally, we end off with one of the most beautiful looking places on the entire map, Mount Caliga. I said earlier that I believe Mount Caliga to be the mountain ranges of Georgia, and these photos seem to back that. We obviously have kayaking, which I mentioned earlier. We can see a squirrel, which is new to the GTA
Squirrels
world.
confirmed.
And overall, Mount Caliga seems like it'll be the most terrifying place in the game for Dark Viper AU.
There aren't cougars in missions!
Now, thank you guys so much for watching.
That's funny. Yeah, it's amazing to me that now, like even what, a year and a half, 2 years after the initial trailer, you can still see screenshots that show you new things you didn't know about before. Like there's just so much. It's really mind-boggling, but you know, they've been working at it hard. It's been a process. It's been a process, but they're in the home stretch, allegedly. It's wild to think that when all is said and done, I mean, they probably will have spent like a year and a half plus polishing. Like it's absolutely crazy, but that's just what it takes to polish a game like that. And it's wild, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of work. I can only imagine. I can only fathom. So yeah, very, very interesting. Very interesting. There you go. Before the next delay, dude, if they delay it again, I would be really surprised, but never say never. Never say never. PC, please. It's expected PC probably comes like, realistically, it's like 12 to 18 months after the main console launch. So I would not expect PC until, what would that be? Spring of 2028. Big sad indeed. Yeah, I would not get my hopes up for PC anytime soon. You will very likely, rumor said February. Yeah, there's a person that said February. There's also people that said it was going to launch 2 years ago. So I will believe it when I see it. But there's other rumors and leaks suggesting that it's more in line with their traditional timelines, which would put it like early 2028. I think the basic thing is that there is nobody knows precisely, at least that's allowed to say anything. So anybody who says they know for sure when it's coming is just guessing, providing a best guess. I think my best guess is that they'll do what they did with Red Dead and with GTA 5. But hopefully they end up surprising us. If they bring it like a month later, dude, I'll be giddy. There was rumors and discussions that they were potentially even testing at some point a Switch 2 version of the game as well. Whether that ends up actually happening or not, of course, remains to be seen. I'm guessing probably not, certainly not at launch. Otherwise, I think they would have already disclosed that. But, you know, they're experimenting with it. If they can get it out earlier, that's sweet. But you also have to remember that for Rockstar, they really like the idea of the double dip. And let's be totally honest with ourselves. If you have a PS5 and a PC, GTA 6 launches, you're probably buying it. Rockstar and like Take-Two Interactive, they know if they bring it to PC a year later, you're probably going to buy it again. Because why wouldn't you? You're probably going to, because you want to see what that 4K 60 looks like. You want to see what it's like running at 60 frames, because it probably doesn't do that on console. And so I think that double dipping element is certainly a piece of the puzzle that's like awkward to mention because nobody wants to admit it. But I think that's a big piece of it. And honestly, they deserve the money. I mean, that's a very valid point, assuming the game is good, of course. But yeah, if they provide a PC port that is really, really good and that allows me to enjoy the game in a whole new light, and I'm like, yeah, I'm willing to pay another $70 to get another copy just to re-experience it at higher fidelity. Like, that's part of the equation. For some people, they'll say, no, I played it, I'm good, I don't need it on PC, and that's totally fine. But I think they know that many millions of people will buy it again. They will buy it, and they'll get to double dip, and that's a piece of it. If you launch it too close to the console version and you let people know that it's really close to the console version, you'll have people sitting on the sidelines. Like if I found out, and I'm just like a regular everyday dude, and I found out that I could play it on PC, but I have to wait a month, let's say, or 2 months after the console launch. But if I wait for the PC port, I can play it at 60 frames. I'll probably wait. Like I'll probably just wait for the PC. But if I'm thinking in my head, I have to wait a year and a half, I might just go get it. You know? You're not a regular everyday dude? Well, I mean in the context, like I will need to play it at launch because of what I do for work, like for my job. You know, I'll need to play it. But, but there's a lot of people out there who don't do this for their job and can wait, you know, a few months and it's no big deal. For me, like if I don't play GTA 6, what am I going to do on stream when people are asking about it? You know, it's going to be a whole thing. Game Sense, thank you for the 5. Do you think GTA 6's map will be bigger than Crimson Desert? So Crimson Deserts was considered to be larger than Red Dead 2's map and twice the size of Skyrim's overworld map. Let's see. Versus this one. I think this is the comparison that the mappers made. This is their current estimated map for GTA 6 versus Red Dead 2. This is Red Dead. This is GTA 6. Based on the current mapping project. All of this is subject to change up here, but all the rest of this, they are pretty confident is what it looks like. So Crimson Desert was just a tad bigger than Red Dead 2's map. So yeah, GTA 6 is going to be bigger than Crimson Desert's map. Yeah. Almost without a doubt. I mean, it's not even, I don't think it's in the same ballpark. Scrollsy, thank you for the 20. Very generous. Take my money. Cheers. Scrollsy. Thank you, my friend.
At Scroll C donated $20 through Super Chat. Take my money. Cheers. Scrolls. You
gotta love text to chat. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Much love. Much love. And then Game Sense, I read that one. F87, thank you for the 5. What's up, Lou? Just finished the closed beta for The Expanse Osiris Reborn, and it's looking good so far. Can't wait for it to drop. Yeah, I've got to try it too, my friend. I haven't tried it yet. Nathan, thank you for the 5. Hey, I tuned into your channel shortly before Crimson Desert's release. Really enjoy your content. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad you stuck around. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Let's see. Nora Tabaku, thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, I stumbled upon your videos a couple of months ago, and you easily became my favorite YouTuber since then. Keep up the positivity. Love the outro. Thank you, my friend. Much love. Glad to have you. Yeah, we got a bunch of fresh faces in the wake of Crimson Desert and everything. It's been really cool. Really cool to see. Okay. There we go. And thank you over on Twitch for all the follows. We got a flood of followers. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Let's see. You know it'll have problems on PS5. Normal it did with GTA 5 too, and people need a PS4 Pro to play at average. I think that the console performance is definitely like the one thing that could potentially be a sour note when it comes to marketing and discussion over GTA 6, because people way smarter than me, who definitely know more of what they're talking about, have said it is very unlikely that this thing is able to run at 60 frames on console, because they are CPU bound games, and it's very unlikely with the level of complexity we're seeing in the simulation, NPCs, everything. It's very unlikely that they'll be able to maintain that level of simulation with 60 frames. Is it impossible? No, but people way smarter than me have said that it's like, if they were betting on it, they would not bet that it's 60. They would bet heavily that it's going to run at 30. Maybe they have a 40 FPS performance mode or something, but it's very unlikely that it's got a 60 FPS mode, even for the Pro. So if that's the case, I could see like the reveal that it launches and it's running at 30 FPS across the board. I could see some people being really upset by that. For me personally, it's not a deal breaker. For me, the 30 FPS is a deal breaker when it's a first person game. It makes me motion sick. I just can't do it. My brain does not like first person games at 30. So for me, that's usually a deal breaker. I just can't do it. But when it comes to like third person adventure gaming, I can play that at 30 and it's not a big deal. I would greatly prefer it runs at 60. I'm willing to spend obviously a lot of money on hardware to get games running higher than 30, but I'll still play it and enjoy it if it runs at 30. One of my favorite games of all time, Red Dead 2, launched at 30 and was fantastic. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, 30 FPS games, fantastic. You know, so it's not a deal breaker for me. I just would greatly prefer it if it ran better. But it's not like a deal breaker. But I am curious how many people it's a deal breaker for. I think most people for whom it's a deal breaker probably have already moved over to PC. In which case they either wait to buy it on PC or, I mean, there's not much of another option, you know. 30 FPS on an OLED screen feels like 15 FPS. I don't know why it would for you. It shouldn't. It shouldn't, but anyway. 30 FPS is way too little. We got to fix that as a standard. Well, to be fair, it is 60 FPS has become the expectation, which is why I'm saying that this could be really jarring if it only launches at 30. Right now, a lot of the evidence points in the direction of it running at 30. Maybe it's uncapped at 40 FPS. Maybe they do that. Maybe, but it seems the evidence is pointing in that direction for it to be like a 30 FPS game. And I think that that's just because that's how it was built. It was when they started working on it in 2019, 2020, they decided that that's where they were targeting because they wanted to do all this crazy simulation, and that's where it's landing, in which case it just is what it is. But that's just how game development works. You can do anything, you just can't do everything, as Todd says. They have to pick their battles. And for them, if they wanted to just go crazy simulation and they had the choice between like 200 NPCs on screen and 30 FPS, or we can do 50 NPCs on screen and hit 60 frames, and they just decided to do it differently. So we'll see. I'm honestly not sure, but we'll see how it goes. We'll have to do like a poll or like a big deep dive and see what the average person, like just voting anonymously, what they say. Maybe I do that. I just do a poll and ask people like, GTA 6 is announced to be locked at 30 on all console hardware, and it's not coming to PC for a year and a half. Does this change your buying behavior? Like, are you still buying it? Does this change your mind? Do you not buy it? Like, what does that do for you? Maybe they have a 40 FPS performance mode. My guess would be that like the base consoles will have 30 FPS. That'll be the limit with their own resolution targets. And then I think on the Pro, like the PS5 Pro, they will have a like Pro mode, which will just be uncapped, targeting like 40 FPS. That would be my guess. Yeah, which will be better. You know, it'll feel better and play better, but I it's still not 60. Not ideal. Yeah, the CPU on the PS5 Pro isn't much better than base. My understanding is that it's about a 10% bump. So the GPU got a big bump. The CPU got like a 10% bump. So it's not like they just doubled the performance. You know, it's not like that. So this is why I'm buying a PS5 Pro. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get a console at this point in the generation, the Pro, of course, is ideal, but the Pro is also $900 freaking dollars now. So if you can find one used or refurbished, that's a good way to go. 900 is just woof, dude. Woof. It's a lot. The CPU is actually the exact same. They just claim better performance because of cooling. Yeah, they claim that it can go hotter without throttling. I've not done testing myself on it, so I don't know for a fact what's true with that, but I have heard that. Okay. Oh, is there another Black Flag leak? Or is this AI? I can't. Hold on. Hold on. Let me check the official Assassin's Creed page. No, okay, this is real. Our first look at Anne Bonny. 46 minutes ago. Dude, that remake, they did good, man. Wow. Wow, they did good. Just the, hey. Yeah, this is what she looked like before, to be clear. So this is the 360 version. Right there. And this is updated. More like Ann Mommy. How dare you? How dare you, 53? That's crazy work. Oh my god. Can you play as her? Well, in Black Flag, this is I've said, you guys know, I've actually brought this up a number of times. People have been like, what's your dream game? I've said for a long time that like one of my dream games is for like a high production value cinematic, think like Naughty Dog style game, but set in the golden age of piracy with Anne Bonny. I think that would be so cool. It's such an interesting story, so unique. It's like a perfect setting, perfect. I think it'd be fantastic. Oh, was that like a joke when you were saying, can I play with, okay. You got me. I thought you meant like actually as a game, like in the game. I got played. You meant play with. Sometimes I'm too innocent, dude. Sometimes I'm too innocent. It's bad. It's bad. I get myself in trouble. Like, dude, the worst one was when somebody made like a racist joke and I did not realize it while we were on stream. It was with AC Shadows. They were talking about, they just revealed Nawe and Yasuke. And somebody in chat asked, can Yasuke swim? And I thought it was like a genuine question of like, in the game, is that like a system where he can swim? So I start going in, I'm like trying to find a gameplay clip of him swimming, like, yeah, absolutely, you can do that. Let me. And chat is like, bro, I totally missed it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I totally missed it. I'm too innocent, dude. Like sometimes people do stuff like that, and it goes straight over my head. It was bad, man. It was bad. It was because it's like just enough of a real question that I'm like, okay, yeah, let me answer that question. And it didn't go through the filter in my head of like, is somebody trying to like say something? Yeah, I just missed it. I missed it. That still haunts me to this day. And now the can I play with her is going to be another one on that list of me being like, okay, well, it's Black Flag, so no, but I've always wanted a game like that. I'm like, oh, you were making like a sex joke. Okay. It's just, I missed it. Yep. Anyway. Anyway, yeah, tomorrow's the day. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. The Quanticoman, thank you for the membership, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Okay, let me refresh. Let's see. Make sure I'm good. And Bunny, but I got my wife. Yeah, exactly. Ezra, thank you for becoming a member at the show off tier. Oh, baby, officially showing off. That's fantastic. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. And then Wallet the Great, thank you for that super chat. They should do what Insomniac did with Spider-Man 2, 40 FPS on quality mode. Yeah, if they literally just uncap the frame rate and put it on VRR, or ask you to put it on VRR, I think that does a lot of the heavy lifting. And that I think will satisfy a lot of people. And they're just like, hey, we're going to uncap the frame rate. Just let people do what they need to do. I think that will do a lot. Character designs are looking, they're cooking. It's so weird to be in a spot, dude, where people are actually like excited and like low-key hyped for a Ubisoft game again. It's been 84 years. It's just crazy to see like this level of excitement, and it's wild, but it's refreshing. It's the power of Black Flag, I'll tell you what. The power of Black Flag. It's a classic. I was hoping for Suicide Squad character designs. Oh, like so Anne Bonny shows up, but with like Tupperware over her head wearing a trash bag. You wanted that? That you pay $20 for? You wanted that? Yeah. Never say never. Never say never. You never know if they're going to have like an in-game store or something. It's still early. Jesus, the owl, thank you for the 2 months. When we get in that OF drop, it already dropped. You just have to find it. That's the trick. It's only feet pics. So you have to figure out which account is mine, but it's only feet pics. Figure it out. Dude, my wife took me to get a pedicure last week. I was like, okay, why are we going? And she's like, you need a pedicure. I was like, what? She's like, you need a pedicure. I'm a dude, okay? I don't spend a lot of time working on my feet, okay? But apparently she's like, you need a pedicure because your feet are like gnarly. So I got them all freshened up just for the OF, just for you. Hey yo, yeah, exactly. Pedicures tickle. It was a fight, dude. I was just sitting there on my phone. They're doing their thing. Dude, just bite them. It's free. That's an insane thing to say, Member Barry. Biting your toenails. Get help. I was just on my phone. And I didn't even realize what we picked. Like we just said, I whatever this one that gets rid of like calluses or whatever. And so I'm just on my phone, sitting in the chair, doing my thing. And like, it feels kind of like the lady scrubbing my foot with a sponge. I'm like, okay. And I look down and she has like a literal plate of sliced up fruit, like oranges, lemons and stuff. And she's taking the fruit and like rubbing it down my leg and foot. Now that's gonna get clipped. God damn it, that motion. She's taking the fruit and rubbing it all over my legs and feet. I thought it was a sponge, but then I see it's like actual fruit, and apparently it was like the fruit cleanse pedicure. I was like, what? This is the nonsense we're spending money on? I was like, I don't need this. Put some Dawn dish soap in there, I'm good. But dude, she was making a lemonade with my leg hair. I don't know what the hell was going on. This craziness. This is what my wife's been doing when she goes off to get her nails did and her feet did. They're making foot smoothies, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, I didn't realize what was going on in those spas, but bro, it's twisted. It's twisted. And they give us crap for playing Warhammer in our free time. What has happened? What's happening? Did I eat the fruit? I mean, I don't want to waste. I mean, it's perfectly good fruit. So can I get the fruit she is? We're going to put it in jars and sell it. Yeah. It was an experience. I learned a lot about myself. Oh, so that's what gives the twisted tea flavor. Exactly, Suplex. Exactly. It's all part of the process. Do more spas. That massage will fix your sciatica. Yes, Jess. I actually have a massage on Sunday for it. It's not... Those massages are not fun because it's literally like they try to find the nerve coming out of your spine and they just like shove an elbow in and try to like loosen the muscles around it. It's not that fun, but it's important. So yeah, I've been doing that. Trying to get ahead of the nerve pain. It's bad. Quentin, thank you for the 5 as well. Did you hear the news about Bungie Foundation funding money to a foundation with associates of extremist groups allegedly still have to read more? I have not heard anything about that. That is crazy, though. I had not heard anything about that. I'll pull that up in another tab. I'll dig into it. That's interesting. But yeah, that's the first I'm hearing about anything like that. Thank you for letting me know. Let's see. They feel so good afterwards. Dude, the first time I got a deep tissue massage, I got like an actual fever afterwards. I didn't realize it, but yeah, it's like a well-known thing. If you are not prepared and like really well hydrated, you will get like an actual fever because your body is flooded with all this stuff releasing from your muscles. So you have to really be on top of it. With that stuff, like you really got to be on it, because I felt horrible after my first one. Like within 6 hours I had like an actual fever, and then they're like, oh yeah, no, that happens, you got to hydrate a lot, got to drink a lot of water. It's like, what? It's like apparently a well-known thing when you get deep tissue massages. Specifically, hydrate a ton, because if you don't, you can get like actual toxicity and like it can make you sick. It's bad. That sounds like something a flat earther would say. Yeah, just rub some magnets on your back, it'll be fine. Yeah, basically the same thing. No, it was like a legitimate thing, and I just had never had a deep tissue massage like that. But no, it's like an actual thing. My partner has sciatica, and prolotherapy really helped his back. Prolotherapy, what is that? I don't actually know what that is. It is regenerative non-surgical injection treatments used to relieve chronic musculoskeletal pain, particularly in ligaments and tendons, by injecting irritants, often dextrose, to stimulate the body's natural repair mechanisms. It's commonly used for joint instability, back pain, osteoarthritis, typically requiring 3 to 6 sessions. Interesting. I think a buddy of mine actually had this done to his knee. This sounds like what he was describing to me. Interesting. Thank you for the recommendation. I'll dig into that. I'm trying to do it all like above intrusive stuff. So I'm doing like physical therapy, massages, lots of stretching and stuff like that, trying to get ahead of it. And that's, I think, been helping. But yeah, we're getting there. Friday night, it was terrible. Do I have herniated discs? I haven't had a CT scan or anything, or an MRI, so I don't actually know. based on the evaluations my doctor and PT have done, they don't think so. They think it's mainly that I have a couple of muscles that are extremely tight and underdeveloped. And so they are working too hard and seizing, and they happen to be the muscles that lay over top of the sciatica nerve. So when they get stressed and strained, they pinch the nerve. And the only way to loosen them is to massage them and stuff like that. But that puts more pressure on the nerve. So the only way to fix it is to put yourself in even more pain. You know, there's no easy fix for it. So we're doing what we can. It's just a process, you know, it takes a while. It takes a while. But we're doing everything we can, trying to stay on it. Let's see. Peptides, brother. Oh yeah, massage stream. Just get stem cell treatments. Dude, if I could just casually get stem cells. I don't know what those do totally. I know that they can be kind of a magic sauce for people. Hell yeah, I'd get some of those, but I don't think they're easy to just get. Have I tried updating my drivers? That's a good question. Pretty sure I have sciatica at the moment. Says let's waiting to see a doctor. Meant to be having teeth out soon, so I can lay down. No way that happens this. No way it happens this month. Yeah, the sciatica stuff is tough. It's tough, dude. It's really miserable. For me, it seems like it's just a combination of a few big muscles and one big muscle and a couple small muscles that are weak and get overstrained and then tighten, and that's when the problems pop up. So for me, hopefully I can deal with it and fix it without surgery, but it's just super fun. Did I see the Paul Tassi article on Bungie today? I did not. Does that have to do with the thing that was just mentioned about the Bungie Foundation? Oh, no. This is something different. More Bungie devs are working on Marathon than Destiny 2 now. Marathon continues to try to retain and attract players with Bungie launching the game a month ago. Sony is eyeing it to see if it can break PlayStation's recent live service curse, but Bungie's primary live service, Destiny 2, is fading quickly with a lack of updates, and it may not surprise you that Destiny 2 is not, in fact, Bungie's primary live service anymore, or at least it's close to a tie. My sources at Bungie confirmed to me that while previously Destiny had a fairly significant edge in developers working on the game, now of the 800 or so remaining Bungie devs, it's now even more evenly split, with Marathon now edging out Destiny 2 by a bit, though obviously the two games share some amount of logistics support within Bungie. Previously, information on the original split was from a combination of comments from Joe Ziegler and reporting from Jason Schreier, who said that after layoffs, the cancellations, about 300 of Bungie's 850 employees were working on Marathon, with 550, the clear majority, still working on Destiny 2. But at launch and now post-launch, those two sections of the company have drawn neck and neck, and getting Marathon some momentum is obviously the larger priority for Bungie at the moment. The issue that's pretty clear to players looking at both games is that Marathon is a game with 4 maps and 6 classes currently, while Destiny 2 has been previously sustained with a constant stream of PvE content, and at least formerly PvP content, which PvP content, which fell by the wayside much before this. So it sounds like, you know, they're trying to save Marathon. I don't actually know where is Marathon. Well, it's doing better than Concord. Yeah, I mean, it's still settling. It's definitely not what you want the chart to look like, you know? But every game is going to do this. Like even in Arc Raiders is going to settle, you know, over time. So it's still doing well. It's just, again, you got to think on time scales of years, you know? Years. It's just at some point you kind of run out of stuff to do. That's the problem. I genuinely don't understand how you can have 400 people working on a game, which is like a full AAA studio, to be clear. You can have 400 people working on a game and like the updates are anemic. It's like, yeah, we have a couple of new skins to sell. It's like, what is everybody doing? Like, I just don't understand it. It feels like teams used to be way more efficient. Like, and you compare it to Pearl Abyss and like what they do with Crimson Desert, and it's just night and day. It's like, what is the gap? Is this a management issue? Is it a productivity issue? Is it a certification issue? Like, what is the holdup? I don't know, man. They may need to make it easier to extract a marathon. Well, I mean, marathon is unapologetically hardcore in a lot of ways, and as a result, it turns off a lot of more casual players. But there's no easy fix for that, because if you make the game more appealing to casual players, the only way you can do that is by making it less appealing to hardcore players. So what do? You know, you're between a rock and a hard place. How much of those 400 peeps are actual devs and designers? We don't know exactly. And it's like they mentioned, there's going to be some overlap with leadership and with staff that's like handling back-end stuff or HR and stuff like that. But yeah, Windrose is approximately a 60-man team. And yeah, and Windrose has been doing phenomenally well. If you haven't seen that, they've been picking up steam as people have been trying it. And of course, over the weekend, they peaked at like 222,000 players and a lot of people jumping in. Part of it is that it's a cheaper game. It's a game that there's not really a clear competitor for. I guess Skull and Bones is the closest competitor, which tells you everything you need to know about it. But I think that this is another example of how you just have to have an original idea. Something that nobody else is really doing. If you try to compete in the like extraction FPS shooter genre, even if you have a unique art style or something, it still gets lumped into the same bucket and you're fighting over the same players. Like Sea of Thieves, I wouldn't even say Sea of Thieves is similar beyond like the most surface level to Windrose, because Windrose is a survival game at its core. It's not like Sea of Thieves it's more of a social like friend game. Like it's much less survival. It's not a survival game. So I wouldn't even say Sea of Thieves is like mechanically the same. It's the same like setting basically, but I wouldn't really compare them. So yeah, it's very, very, it's very interesting. But I think that this is just another example of how you got to have a really original idea where you can kind of be the big fish in the small pond. Whereas a lot of games nowadays are just trying to be a decent sized fish in an ocean with millions of other fish, you know, and then they're surprised when they can't grow or there's not much left behind. And I think in the case of like, you know, the extraction genre, we're seeing that like even Fair Game $sign is expected to be an extraction. They're calling it an extraction shooter, at least some of the leaks are, which is wild. Like that they would then try to go and compete with that, especially bear in mind, that is a Sony game. So Sony leadership, who just got done getting Marathon out the door, they want to double dip in the extraction genre? Like, what are we doing? Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that you could do, like, what? What are we doing? It's just delusional, man. But I think it really is that they look at something like a Tarkov and they think, so we just do that. And that's like the extent of it. It's just baffling. There's no creative thought. But that's why I think the games end up feeling kind of soulless, is because they're developed in sort of a soulless way, where it's not about coming up with something truly unique and novel. It's about coming up with our version of Tarkov, our version of Apex, our version of this or that. And so it just sucks all the life out of it. Zero passion. Yeah. Say what you will about Windrose. I know some people aren't that big of a fan of Windrose. That's fine. But say what you will about it. The devs are passionate. It's a labor of love. They really believe in it. Poured a lot of time and love into it. And, you know, they're reaping the rewards for sure. Extraction genre is fair game. Yeah. Sony fumbled, so Xbox can get back on its feet. Yeah, and they might. I mean, with the price cuts that they just did, there's rumors. Jez Corden is saying that there's sources telling him that there's plans to potentially, or they're entertaining plans to do a pick your own plan formula for Xbox Game Pass. So basically what this could take the form of is that there's like a series of checkboxes. And so it's like, you know, the UB Plus or whatever. And then there's the COD, and then there's day one first party games, and then there's maybe a different plan for indie games, right? And you basically go down when you sign up for Game Pass, you check whichever box of the stuff that you want, you leave unchecked the stuff you don't want, and then it runs a really basic calculation and tells you, okay, your cost is going to be $7.99 per month. So you can pick exactly what you want, which I think would be fantastic if they let you actually do that. Can you imagine if they did that? I think that'd be fantastic. Because I don't want COD. I don't need that. Maybe I don't want the Ubisoft collection. I don't need that. Maybe I already own the Ubisoft games, or maybe I hate Ubisoft games. Whatever it is, I don't need that. So I'm going to uncheck that box, and then that goes down to $5.99. You know? Like, let me do that. Maybe you only care about COD and you don't care about day one stuff because you only play Call of Duty. Okay, do that, and maybe COD is only $4.99 a month or something. Like, if they can go and do this, this would be fantastic. I would be happy if they did this. And apparently Jez is saying that this type of plan, a sort of pick your own plan formula for Xbox Game Pass, is on the cards. Like, it's a joke. I get it. It's a joke that like, oh, Sony is screwing up, so Xbox stands a chance. Like, they're screwing up because they're cocky and they're feeling confident. They don't feel threatened by anything. But if Xbox can start swinging with these types of offerings, you could see momentum start to shift really quick, especially as Xbox is doubling down on this stuff and pro-consumer moves and moves that excite their fan base and things like that. If Sony at that same time is doing further price hikes and then also doing stuff like pushing out Fair Game $, and these games that represent that Jim Ryan era, even if the game is solid, I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen Fair Game's gameplay ever. So maybe the game is amazing. I don't know. Amazing. Maybe. I don't know. But if they're doing that at the same time that Xbox is doing these other things that are very popular with gamers, that could shift the narrative quickly, I think. Pro-consumer, well, pro-consumer is a spectrum, right? Like, there's more pro-consumer than less pro-consumer. Cutting prices, that's a good thing. It's good for the consumer. Putting out products that aren't egregiously overpriced because you have a market dominance, that's a good thing for the consumer. If it's priced fairly. It's less pro-consumer. It's anti-consumer. If you're cranking the prices and extracting as much money from them as you possibly can because you think that you have a monopoly, you know? Anyway. Rick, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Very much. Thank you very much. Very, very generous of you. Thank you. Buttery Cheeks, thank you for the 2. How much for a Luke Dogg's fruit smoothie? That's a great question. Email me. Shifei, thank you for the 2. WTF kind of stream did I come back to? I'm sorry, we started talking about feet and then it just went downhill from there. And Shifei also, Windrose is approximately 60-man team. Yes, very impressive for 60 people. Very impressive. I'm glad they got it funded. But anyway, Sony will get better once the whole sky is pushed out. He doesn't seem to be, but that doesn't seem to be happening yet. For whatever reason, Sony executive leadership likes him. They think he has the vision and can deliver on it. I think somehow he managed to be right next to Jim Ryan and get promoted initially with Jim Ryan. But Jim Ryan took the fall for all the live service disaster stuff. And somehow Herman avoided taking any of the blame for it. And I don't know how that's possible, because it seems pretty clear to me that he's been right there the whole time and like a part of it. So I don't know how he managed to dodge all blame for it, but he did. And so he's retained his job through all of it. But I think if like Marathon is like continuing to struggle And then we get to the point where they put out Fair Games and they put out, what's the other one? There's another one that they're working on. I can't remember. But if they continue to struggle, Hunter's Gathering. If that also fails, like, I don't see how he has a job at the end of the generation. I just don't see how it's possible. I don't see how you could blow all of those opportunities and still have a job. I just don't see it. But I would have thought after Concord he would have been gone. So who knows? Yeah. And to be clear, I don't take joy in these games failing because they represent, for a lot of people, like, their livelihoods being threatened and layoffs and a lot of misery for the devs. My point has always been that like most of these games that are catastrophic failures, they were never going to be successful. Like, so greenlighting them was irresponsible. Greenlighting them set the team up for failure, you know? And I understand that there's some studios who are like, well, just give us a chance. We'll take a crack at it. I'm like, I understand that philosophy, that mindset, but let's be real. There are some game concepts that were just never going to work. I don't think there is a world in which, like, Arkham fans were going to be really into Suicide Squad. I don't think there was a world in which, like, I don't even know who Concord, I guess Overwatch fans. I don't think Overwatch fans were ever going to leave Overwatch for Concord. I don't think that ever made sense. So the fact that the game was ever greenlit was part of the problem, because the executive that greenlit it got to retire with his millions and move on with his life is totally fine. Those people who worked on that game were fired and laid off, and like that was a huge problem for them. It's not a fun thing. It's a bad thing. Don't take joy in it. I'm upset that the executives were able to do it and then get away with it, you know? Overwatch fans left for Rivals. I think they tried Rivals. But what we've seen is Overwatch 2 has gotten a resurgence. And thankfully, Rivals gave them a kick in the pants, forced them to actually try, and they've really tried. Like, Overwatch has gotten way better. Like, way better. They actually tried. It's really wild. Imagine that. It's funny they had to clarify that they'll still continue making single player games so they receive less blowback from the fans. That I have it. Oh yeah, sorry, it's not Overwatch 2 anymore. It's just Overwatch. I forgot. Yes, they dropped the 2, just like Fair Games dropped the $. Yes, oh crap, what was I gonna say? What was I just looking at? Oh, yeah. When they said that we're still making single player games specifically to avoid blowback, I have it on pretty good authority that was said specifically because some of the creators that went out and saw the game in like late last year, they warned them, you have to disclose and be very clear you are still going to make Horizon 3, because if people think this is where your company is pivoting, they will lose their minds. And they made it very, very clear. And so I have a very good feeling that the only reason that was said at the beginning of that video is because they received overwhelming feedback that they needed to disclose that to cushion it. And even still, the feedback and the reaction to that game reveal was not positive. But I think it would have been even worse if they had pretended like this was actually something they really loved and were super into. They know. I will say, like I said, I've had the opportunity to speak to a few people who have worked on that and have participated with that game, and even those people were like, no, nobody here is convinced that this is going to be the next big thing. Like, nobody here is delusional. They didn't use the word delusional. Nobody here thinks that this is going to kill Overwatch or take down one of the big guys. Like, we all know that this is an experiment that came from on high. It's just what we have to do. Basically, it's Herman Holst's baby, and they have to do it because he's the boss. But they all know that it's probably not long for this world, and that sucks. But that just is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, then why keep making it? Well, it's not their choice. Like, I think Herman, again, the reporting was that Herman was a true believer in Concord. He honestly and truly thought that that was going to be a Star Wars level success. It was going to kickstart a new generation of multimedia tie-ins. Remember, they hired a development team to go and make an animated short film about Concord before the game had even launched. He was that confident that people would see Concord and were going to be so into it that they would be seeking out additional media for it, that they would be like, oh my God, did you see? There's a Concord short film on Amazon. We got to go watch it. Like, he actually truly thought that. So is it that crazy to think that he also really thinks Horizon Hunter's Gathering is going to be huge? No, I think that that's very possible. I think it's very possible. The short was cool, by the way. All of those shorts were cool. That team that does those, I forget the name of the team that makes those, but yeah, they're all very, very good. What was just crazy is, again, the cojones to go and make that before the game even launches, to be that full of yourself that you think, no, people are going to love this so much that we can spend millions on this. It's crazy. He wanted a Concord culture so bad. I mean, he really thought that, like, they would be going and having cosplayers dress up as the characters, that it was going to be like Overwatch, where they can host conventions where an entire day of the convention is just on Concord, and that it would become a new series of mascots for PlayStation. And again, all of this sounds insane, but that's what he apparently honestly believed. And when you see that, and then you look at the rest of what they're doing, it does start to line up, and you start to understand why things have gone the way that they have, you know? It lines up. Low bar. Yeah, that it is a low bar, but still. How's he not been fired? There is somehow he has managed to convince the executives at Sony that he knows what he's doing. I don't understand it, but yeah. Hello, my queen. Do you want to say hi to everybody? My queen, my flame, my muse is here. She has her coffee. And she's leaving. Like, you're just turning around. Yeah, it's I don't understand it either, my friend. I truly don't. How are you?
I'm wounded.
You're wounded?
I'm wounded.
How are you wounded?
I can't go up and down stairs so good.
Oh, your shins.
My shins are so bad.
She did a 50-minute treadmill workout yesterday, and shins are destroyed.
They've been destroyed for at least 2 months. And now it's like I can't go on walks.
Yeah, so you do the toe walking, just like I feel that. For me, I never got the shin problems when I was starting like running a lot. It was always my calves. My calves were super tight all the time. Yeah. Oh yeah, I told them about my fruit pedicure.
They made juice on his legs.
Yeah, they turned me into a pina colada.
We're in Colorado. CBD is pretty common. And so it was like a CBD pedicure, but I think there was like a little bit of a language barrier.
Whatever I asked for was not what I got.
And I look over and she's literally like squeezing oranges and rubbing it into his leg hair.
Yeah, and I'm on my phone and I'm like, I think it's a sponge that she's using on my leg. I'm like, okay, I guess. Makes sense.
No, it's oranges.
And I look down and I turn to Nikki.
And then she pulls out like a lime.
Yeah, it was like it honestly felt kind of nice. I was a little sticky for the rest of the day, but
I really feel like you should have asked her to not waste it and like if you could take it home.
yeah, don't no. Or reach down and grab one to snack on while I'm sitting there. It was very nice. She did a great job. She was great. The guy that did Nikki's feet messed her up. He was too aggressive. Like, just it's luck of the draw. I've seen and I've heard that it's sometimes you get somebody who like is really good, and other times you get somebody who's just like coming in with a machete. Luke drinks candles. Nikki, you don't know that. Big toast. You don't know that. There's no proof.
I have a cabinet upstairs that had nothing in it, and I opened it one day, and it is actually filled with about 30 candles. So
It is. I order them in bulk when the candles go on clearance. So downstairs I have my warm scents, and then upstairs I have like the spring and summer scents. And we've used it for like gifts too, where we're like going to somewhere and we need to throw something in the gift. I'll just grab a candle real quick. Nice and easy.
This one smells like your mom.
That's not what I said. I said this one smells like your mom would like it. I did not say this smells like your mom. We need Yes We Candle candles. Yes, we do. Because Yes We Candle. I'll have to look at it. I don't want to just relabel something, but we could probably come up with something. We'll figure it out. I think we should do some sort of candle run of something. Yeah, I agree. Try using candles for your next pedicure. Oh, I could bring.
They put wax on your feet too.
Did they?
Yeah, you missed that.
I don't.
Feet were coated in wax.
Oh, I don't.
In little bags.
Apparently, I was not. Oh, is that what that was? I thought that was like it was like this red liquid that I thought was like some sort of cleanser, but it did thicken up. Now that I think about it, as we were sitting there, so I guess that was wax. I didn't even realize, dude. I was just there. I just let them do whatever they want. They could have rubbed my feet with fish guts, and I probably would have been like, "Yeah, that's just how it works, apparently." I have to double check the lawn. The lawn guy came, but Romeo's in his dog run because, of course, they do fertilizer and he can't be out there. It's bad for him. So he's not allowed on the grass after they do the treatment. But I have to go read the piece of paper he left on the door to see how long he's not allowed on the grass, because Romeo does not like not being allowed in the grass.
Only just 2 hours till it dries.
Well, it depends if it's the pellets, if he did the pellet fertilizer, or if he did like spray stuff. Because the spray stuff, yeah, when it dries, it's fine. But if it's the pellet stuff, I think it has to like release and get wet over the course of like a day. So I don't know.
This outfit make me look like a high school wrestler.
High school wrestler?
Yeah, just not as tight. Like a high school wrestler who's self-conscious.
No.
You see it? You didn't go to high school. You don't know. Okay, never mind.
I didn't go to high school. We didn't have a wrestling team, if that's what you mean. I was on the chess. I was on the chess team, the chess club. Okay, well, fam, I am going to call it there. Like we said, we've got the Black Flag stuff tomorrow. The big event is happening. I will we're gonna have a lot to talk about, so it's gonna be wonderful. But I'm gonna go take care of Mr. Doggy and get him all squared away. Yes, I may or may not be on a plane when all of this initially drops, but don't worry, I will still find a way to talk about stuff. Okay. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. It's gonna be a fun day. Shout out to the chess club. You're damn right. One of the weirdest streams ever. It was great. I'm glad. Yeah, we went on quite the roller coaster ride of people in love with roller coasters all the way to pedicures and then flat earth. And yeah, it was all over the place. But anyway, much love, everybody. I'll be back Friday at the very least. If I can stream tomorrow, I will stream. It will probably be more of an impromptu, like IRL stream, which would be fun if I can make that work. But I'll try to do something. Don't you worry. Okay. I'll try to do something. Enjoy Japan. It's just a quick casual trip to Japan. I will be back by Friday. So it is not going to be a relaxing venture. It's going to be a lot of hustle, but anyway, much love, everybody. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. I see CZM says with a 5, I'm a huge Horizon fan. It's disheartening. That being said, Horizon 3 is likely the launch title for PlayStation 6 or like first couple of years. But yeah, I agree. Rivals had Spider-Man, Concord had Tupperware. You're damn right they did. Scotty Brown, thank you for the 5. How do you feel about NTE Neverness to Everness, which is the gacha anime GTA 6? I don't know about that. NTE Neverness Everness online game. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this, so I genuinely don't know. We might have seen a video of this. It looks vaguely familiar, but I don't know about it. I don't really have anything to add to it. I'll have to look it up. I have it pulled up in another tab, so thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. But with that, much love, everybody. Have a fantastic Wednesday, and I will see you soon. Much love, everybody. Hugs and kisses.